Hello, hello. Thank you for the fab. Good evening. Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing? I hope you're good. Welcome back to 90s lesbians. They have so many problems. Oh, that is the right controller. Never mind. I thought I picked up the wrong controller just now. You're doing good. I'm glad to hear it. I need to turn up my cursor again. I don't like it when cursor is in the picture the entire time. There we go. Yeah, welcome back. If these two don't add up back together, then I don't know. You're a little tired, but you chit-chat with a friend for a few hours. You might know the feeling. I do know the feeling. Both being tired and chit-chatting with a friend for a few hours. Very, very nice. Ugh. Sorry, it's just my stomach didn't like my idea of dinner apparently. So I'm a little... But that's okay. I'm just gonna focus on these girls. Oh, calling them girls is actually a little wrong, or isn't it? Both very much adult women, but whatever. Last time we got... This is chapter 3, I think. Yeah. We got up to chapter 3 and was like, okay, so they both clearly still have some kind of feelings for the other person because they broke up because one thought she wasn't good enough for the other and just never told her about it, and now it's like, oh, I thought you were married with a child, and then the other one was like, you know I'm gay. Yeah, but like, and then they kind of fought a little about that, and then they stopped talking about it, and now I'm hoping that they're actually gonna like properly talk it out while also solving the mystery. The mystery is like, in my mind, the mystery of who the fuck keeps setting those fires and everything is like secondary. I need those two to deal with all of their... No, that's fine. Okay. I need these two to handle the relationship stuff a little better. Hopefully, maybe. We should be back. Oh my god, I forgot her name though. I forgot both of our characters' names. That's unfortunate. F. Well, anyway, we're back with the one who writes books and does not actively work for the police, but was called in for this case. And is not a police officer, detective, whatever. I forgot her name. Wow. Good job, me. I do not wake with the crack of dawn, but it's still a little earlier than I'd prefer. I don't understand people who think mornings are the favorite part of the day. Even when I absolutely have to rise, I don't feel very much like shining. Late, lazy mornings are something else entirely. Times when I can just lounge in bed with the sun coming through my curtains, feeling warm and soft and comfortable, in no hurry to go anywhere or do anything. Especially if I've got someone sweet to share my bath with. Someone sweet with a wet tongue. Diane! Okay, yeah. Yes, I love your kisses, you beautiful boy. My fingers drift through his fur, reassured by softness. His sweet interlude is interrupted by a monstrous growling. Not to me, my stomach. I have to get up. Well, that doesn't mean I can treat myself. Come on, boy, let's have pancakes. Ooh. Oh, I could go for some pancakes. I mix up a batch of bats in the sunny kitchen, humming tunelessly to myself. I know I can sing, but Timmy doesn't mind. The first pancake to hit the pan always comes out a little funny. If it doesn't tear on a flip, it will still be the wrong color or uneven or blobby. Timmy's more than happy to take care of the ritual sacrifice. First, ones properly decorated with butter and syrup and berries are for me. Aww. I probably made too many, but it's home cooking, so that makes it wholesome. And pancakes are only good fresh, so I'm morally obligated to eat the whole stack, right? Besides, I deserve some pampering, and nobody else is going to do it for me, so I have to take care of myself.
Why does a woman have to be so infuriating anyway? It's not fair. She's all sexy and confident and walking around like she's queen of all cats just because she's a cop. And she thought I would marry a man. And she thought it was funny that I still read fantasy books. Ugh. I shove another sweet syrupy bite into my mouth. Can't chew pancakes angrily. They're too soft. That's the point. But I feel betrayed. I feel like I've spent the last 2 days driving around with an actress just pretending to be someone I used to know. How could she understand me so little? We were supposed to be in love. We were supposed to be soulmates. I know she left me, but I thought at least before that we were happy. We had some kind of connection. I thought we liked the same things. Was she only pretending to keep my interest? Did she think that I was just pretending in order to impress her? Was anything real at all? She's changed so much, become this person I would never have predicted. Maybe it makes sense that she thought I would change too. Or maybe we never understood the first thing about each other. We were young and stupid and saw only what we wanted to see. Marry a man? Huh. How would she like that if it happened to her? Lord almighty, what if she wants that? She is gay, isn't she? I sweep my fork around in circles trying to soak up all the maple on my plate. Did she ever say one way or the other? She said no one at work knew about her past. Oh, it doesn't matter. Whether she still loves women or not, she certainly doesn't love me. I finish my breakfast and take my dishes to the sink to rinse off the sticky, sour residue. Naturally, that's when the phone rings. I grab the dish towel and try to dry my hands enough to not have slippery fingers, then go to fetch it. Hey Diane, aren't you? Speak of the devil and he doth appear. She sounds much less apologetic than she did when she called me yesterday morning. I suppose I was meant to be expecting her. I'm awake. I was just doing the dishes. Have you heard this morning's news? No, I watched the broadcast last night. It was every bit as sensational and completely fabricated as Jackie had warned me to expect. Let's think Coulter's going to sacrifice your children and all that. Yeah, we had a father call into the station to report that his teenage daughters were carried off by Satanists and forced to dance around the shed while they burned cats inside. Which is an obvious flight of fancy. There weren't any dancers or any Satanists, and nothing was sacrificed at that site, not even a marshmallow. Well, there could have been a marshmallow. Something like that wouldn't leave any trace behind beyond a few ashes. But there definitely weren't any skeletons. It wasn't like that time with the dog. But worse news this morning though, the situation has escalated faster than anticipated. What happened? A perp set fire to the Lucky Penny last night. Oh! Oh my word! Is Miss Wilcox alright? She's fine. She wasn't there. No one was hurt. Place is a real mess though, a total write-off. The owner's pretty bent out of shape about it. I would be upset too if my livelihood burnt down. Especially after she asked the department to provide her with a night watch and we didn't. It's certainly not my fault, I had nothing to do with that decision, but I feel guilty anyway. I suppose all we can do now is to work bringing the criminal to justice. Right. There's a team at the site now. I'll be by to pick you up shortly. The line disconnects. Yes, ma'am. I sigh and hang up the phone. I better put the dishes up to dry and get ready to go. When Jackie arrives, she sits there in her car, engine running, arm draped over the wheel and waits for me. I guess she's in a hurry. Well, it's not like it's a social call. This is a crime and it's getting out of hand. I climb into the passenger seat, clutching my notebook. Hi. She doesn't look at me, just releases the parking brake. We called into the homes first thing in the morning. Both the Mitchell's parents and Miss Cruz swear the boys were home last night. There's not enough evidence yet to arrest them. Arrest those boys? Why? They obviously didn't do it. Now she looks at me for a moment, a swift sideways glance that is not complimentary. Don't tell me you believed little Eddie Haskell yesterday. Those boys are no angels. I know what a suck-up is. I've seen plenty of those in classrooms. But those boys were obviously afraid that they were going to be in trouble. I see plenty of that in classrooms too. They were scared. Why would two scared kids sneak out and do the biggest crime ever right after being visited by the cops, when they knew you'd be watching them? Well, it wouldn't be very smart, but criminals tend to be pretty dumb. People who think about consequences don't do crimes. Yeah? What about you when you were young? When we were together, she liked to play the mysterious bad girl. Many times she implied she'd been in trouble with the law, but she said I wouldn't want to know the details. She said it, so I believed it and didn't ask, but that was then. I'm not that naive anymore. Well, that proves my point, doesn't it? I didn't care about consequences then. What did you do? She blinks. You don't know? Eyes on the road, officer. Sorry. I see her throat move as she swallows. Is she going to answer? So, it was mostly disorderly conduct and underage consumption, technically B&E, breaking and entering, but only for trespass or minor vandalism, but not burglary. And I played bait once or twice. If I went into a shop wearing leather and spikes, security watched me and not anyone else. You shoplifted? My friends did. I was just a distraction. It was stupid. They didn't even take anything valuable, they did it for kicks. And I did it to stay cool with them. She makes a face. And some fights that would have been better if anyone had been charged, but none of us would ever have squealed. You beat people up. Had some bruises. I gave as good as I got. No one gets seriously hurt. If that's all, why didn't she tell me this when we were dating? Why did she make it a mystery? And after that, you became a cop? With the new community-oriented focus, it can be a benefit to have some officers who understand how kids go wrong. She didn't seem very understanding with Eduardo and Alex. I'm being unfair. I'm still angry with her and I'm pressuring her about things that don't matter. We have a mystery to solve after all. So, I did my homework last night. I started with the comic, but I couldn't find any occult symbols hidden in the art. It was a decent story, though. The heroine is a mutant girl with heat powers who's afraid that she's losing control and starting fires by accident, but it's actually her evil mentor manipulating her in order to keep her obedient. Eventually, she learns to stand up for herself and uses her powers to fight for her freedom, embracing the fire instead of fearing it. I had hopes that the mentor's mysterious Hellfire Club might turn out to involve devil worship, but apparently it was just rich people partying and trying to get richer. Well, we both knew the comic book was a long shot. Good news is I found a match for the big grid symbol on the floor of the burnout shed. It's a weave. A sigil used in voodoo to summon a lower spirit. For rituals adorned on floors with powder, like we saw, to act as a beacon for the astral plane. Hello, hello! Hey, raiders! Evil spirit be gone! Hi! I'm the light the color pink vision of us and JRPGs are currently playing Night Cascades. Hello! How was stream? Ooh, wait. Is that allowed? On Twitch? Is there a censored version? Pikachu for the raiders, of course.
Pikachu. Pikachu.
Apparently. I see. I still have to read that one. Actually. I'm like going in reverse order of the game releases. I own it, but I still haven't gotten around to it. Yes. Well, yeah, welcome in. There's a censored version, which you are for sure okay. I gotcha. Well, I hope you're enjoying your censored version. Which game is this? This is Night Cascades, where you play... Well, we follow the story of Diane, the one you can see on the left, and I forgot her name. Jackie. Jack, who are... Well, Jack, is a police officer, and Diane is an author / school teacher who has some kind of focus on... I forgot the exact word. Anyway, we're trying to find who keeps setting fire to places and who's playing a little Satanist using satanistic symbols. Also, these two dated while they were in college, and now there's a little bit of bad blood because they didn't really break up properly, and oh, I still have feelings for her, but no, I hate her, and the other one, she obviously doesn't like me anymore. Bah, 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 bah. Disaster lesbians, I would say. So that's what we're doing. It's a lovely game so far. I flipped to the picture in my notebook. This is the symbol of Ogun, a god of warriors. He's considered to have very strong masculine energy. He's also the god of rum. Remember that rum bottle they found? And he's a god of fire. I think that's set up in the shadow some kind of invocation. Voodoo, huh? How does that connect with the astrology handprint at the store and the yoga symbols from the rose duck? Well, it doesn't exactly, but it does suggest that there's a pattern and that these symbols are being chosen deliberately. Whoever put that site together had a purpose in mind. It wasn't just picking symbols that looked cool, it was an attempt at a ritual. Not a real voodooist, not a real Buddhist, but someone with a passing interest in many different traditions. I think I was wrong before when I guessed this was a teenage punk fooling around. I think this is new age pagan who believes in whatever they're doing. Not comforting if they believe in burning down the city. I can't think of anything more to say to that. I was excited about my findings last night, but I didn't expect to wake up and find that so much damage had been done. I leaned my cheek against my seatbelt and watched the streets go by. Also, oh my god, thank you so much for the follow. For both the raid and the follow. I didn't... The notification got totally lost. I'm so sorry. The Lucky Penny building is still in one piece, more or less, but it's clearly too damaged for the shop to reopen without a major refurbishment. This time there are hazard signs around the area, though the hazard is fairly obvious even without the warning. One of the letters has fallen off the store's name display, and I see it on the ground. I wonder if someone took it away for safekeeping. The nearby stores don't look too badly damaged. Jackie said no one was hurt. It could have been worse. I get out of the car and cautiously approach. A familiar face is standing guard over the location. Good morning, Officer Romano. Good morning, ma'am. Ah, you okay again? That's right. Is Miss Wilcox here? The owner? Nah, she left a while ago. Woman was hopping mad, saying we should have stationed around-the-clock patrol, like we don't have better things to do. Well, if there had been a police patrol, then I could have caught the arsonist and stopped all this. Who's been here so far? Mostly the fire department. Between the fire in the houses and them stomping around, there wasn't much left for forensics to bag. You go off since you're about to oh, 10 hours! Damn! Okay, yeah, get some rest. Thank you so much for coming by. Another pink LBT we're playing at. Yes! The LGBTs, the pink LGBTs, we're pushing our agenda, aren't we? Nice. I'm like, yeah, get some rest. Thank you so much for coming by. Just because I play games for unnecessarily long periods of time doesn't mean I can't go, damn, but other people also doing it. Yeah, bye. After I was out, the fire team did their assessment and took pictures to try and determine point of ignition. We need to look for specific details that wouldn't have interested the fireman. Can we go in? They said what's left of the structure is generally stable, so it should stay up as long as you don't go shoving anything. No worries about fingerprints. This was a public space. Anything not ruined is still worthless for evidence. Unless you find a gas can the fire brigade missed, it doesn't matter. Why does my monitor keep turning off? This happened yesterday as well already. It's like, come on. You're new. Your cable should work just fine. Damn, there's another. There is. It must be difficult to get good evidence for crimes that take place in stores where anyone can handle the merchandise. You'll be careful though, there's a bunch of broken glass in there. Might be some nails too, so watch your step. Especially you, ma'am. Why especially me? Do you look accident prone? Is he saying I'm not as competent as Jackie? But I smile and nod and thank him for his courtesy. We step a little closer. Do you need a hand? No, I shouldn't be mad. I probably do need help, and at least she asked. Yes, you are right. If I'm going to do jobs like this, I ought to buy some boots. Yeah, how do you not have a single pair of boots? Eyes gleam as she smiles. I'm hopeless, aren't I? I can't help smiling back. It'll probably be alright if you're careful. Normal shoes are enough unless you come down on a shard sticking straight up. If you feel any sharp pains, if anything scratches you, let me know. It's worth the hospital trip to be safe. One bill from the AR could wipe out everything this job pays. She sees my worry and offers me her arm. Hold on to me if you need support.
Thank you for the show, Barry.
I'll just... Okay, thanks. I grip my arm through the jacket, careful not to squeeze too hard and proceed into the dark. Ah, this is the main game CG. As in, this is the one that Steam actually has as the banner for the game. We're only a few feet from a bright sunshiny day, but everything feels so wrong. There's a crawling, creeping sensation across my shoulders. This must be what claustrophobia is like. It reeks of smoke, but not the wholesome scent of wood smoke and summer barbecues. The air leaves a metallic taste in my throat. I hope Officer Romano didn't forget to warn us about poisonous gases. He said the fire department gave the all clear, didn't he? Yeah, this is it. This is the one on the banner. Jackie pulls out a flashlight and sweeps it around the debris. What a mess. The light lingers on a distorted human shape. There was a dressmaker's dummy once, or a mannequin with no arms. I'm sure once it displayed some slightly faded clothing for sale. Now the suit and the shadows make it look monstrous. Try not to touch anything, the residue might be mildly toxic. I can't really avoid touching anything. At least I can't avoid touching her. Not and keep my footing. Truthfully, I'm glad that it's Jackie here with me and not some strange man. It would be inappropriate to hold on to anyone else like this. They might feel invited to take liberties. You see anything you recognize? We've been here before, after all. If you look at what's changed, it might give us clues about what happened. I draw my attention away from Jackie and try to focus on what remains of the store and its contents. Not everything is burned away. I should be able to find some points for comparison. What did I look at last time? Oh boy! You looked at a lot of things last time. Everything that was in or under the window is a lost cause. Jewelry that was on display here is missing completely. It's possible that it was put away for the night when the shop closed. Otherwise, I don't know if it was destroyed in the blaze, ground to pieces underfoot, or stolen. The toy baskets are nothing but ashes now. There's nothing here for me to find. The floor is littered with debris, most of which is unrecognizable. Only a few familiar colors catch my eye. Blue glass Nazar charms have fallen to the ground, either shattered or melted. I suppose they weren't such good luck after all. Terracotta flower pots are broken too. You can tell if they were kicked and smashed or only cracked by the heat of the fire. They all look more or less alike now that any decorative paint is burned away. Shards of glass and pottery don't tell me anything else. Golden wire pyramids gleam among the other wreckage. Except for those unlucky enough to be crushed by falling debris, they seem to have weathered the fire fairly well. The little paper labels to tell you which stone represents which blessing are all gone. I wonder if one of them was a charm for fire resistance. No, that's just silly. The magazines have burned. I can still make out the shapes of pages and binding, but the content is gone. Everything inside those yellow covers is now solid black. Taught us in school that glossy paper had a different chemical composition, more clay or something, which means that it leaves more ash behind. Newsprint would flake away and vanish into smoke. But what difference does it make? They may have left more trace of their passing, but they're still gone. Filing cabinets don't look too badly damaged. They're scorched, but they might still be usable. Of course, since the drawers are closed, I can see the contents. Jackie said I shouldn't touch anything with my bare hands. You're wearing gloves. Can you get any of these drawers open? Jackie tucks on one of the handles. Not budging. The metal might have warped. Is it important? I could get a crowbar. No, it doesn't matter. I was wondering what happened to the things that were inside the cabinets. The trading cards, remember? Most likely they burned. It would have gotten pretty hot inside a metal cabinet. All those cards and binders, I don't even know what they were worth. Probably a lot of money. The bookshelf is a disaster that hurts to look at. Everything's gone, destroyed, and there's no way to bring it back. I hate the whole concept of books being burned. Even when it's not censors trying to ban words, it's still knowledge and ideas being lost. We'll never know how much the progress of humanity was set back when the Library of Alexandria burned. I wish I bought that alchemy book last time I was here, even though I didn't need it. I don't even want to imagine something like this happening to my books at home. Me neither! Me neither. I would be so devastated. The jewelry in the center case is all jumbled up. Some items were made of wood or plastic, those have burned away or melted and fused with each other. Stone beads were all loose when poked, now that the string which held them is gone. The green starburst amulet appears to have survived, but I don't see the rings, even the solid metal ones that should be intact. Of course, they're small, they could be lost in all this junk. I realize I'm touching things I shouldn't and quickly rub my fingers in my skirt. Okay, that's all you can work out. Jackie sweeps her flashlight over the walls and floors, but it doesn't do any good. There's too much damage. If there are sigils drawn here, they've burned or been covered up by garbage. If you could get the floor clear, we might be able to see the burn patterns. Don't you dare touch that junk with your bare hands. Do you want a tetanus shot? Burn patterns are something for the fire experts anyway. I know, but I feel like a failure. I can't find any new clues. The fire was pretty severe. Any traces might have been destroyed. That's not your fault. We brought you on board to interpret the wackadoo things we do find, not to pull clues out of thin air. I can't believe he just said wackadoo. Wackadoo? Whatever.
Thank you for your binary. Good evening. How you doing?
I made you laugh. Yeah. It's wrong to take comfort from the enemy. Let's get out of here before anything collapses.
Ayaya. Ayaya.
Hi, Anu. We head back out into the street. Alright, ladies. More or less. Look, were there any witnesses to what went down last night? Haven't turned up any so far. We're peeling for information in the area. Alright, keep up the good work. You're good except it's warm and summer's awful. Ain't that a fucking mood? Yeah. Yeah, no. I've had my window open the entire time, but now that I'm streaming it's closed, and 2 separate times there was some baby or small child crying outside. Like, please get your fucking child. But other than that, it's okay-ish in here right now. So that's good. She starts back to the car. With the news reporting this, any witnesses will probably call into the station, not show up here. Romana will keep an eye out for anyone talking too much of an interest, especially teenagers. Are you still blaming any teenagers? Especially thrill seekers and trophy hunters who flock to the side of a crime scene. It's a common problem. Yeah, one of the children sounded like... not good.
Ain't no way it's another news stream. Ain't no way. It's weird.
Hi, good evening. How are you? Oh. Hey, did you have a... We should get back to the station and find out if there have been any updates or new lab reports. Fine. Don't answer me. We climb into a car and pull the doors closed. Jackie sits there for a moment, her fingertips resting on the bottom of the wheel. Oh my. She coughs. I went to see the start of a shooting once, but only to look from a distance. I didn't get in there or take anything. She does answer all of the questions, it just takes her a little while. Huh, interesting. I debut shopping. I see. Well, I hope you had a nice day, though. I'm good, I'm good. This is sudden music. Well, we just went back to the car, and I'm assuming that's just the radio playing. Oh. I wasn't really expecting an answer, especially not anything more detailed than a yes or no. I don't think I ever did anything like that. Oh no, you wouldn't. She takes a deep breath and straightens up and starts the car. There's a chance that we may be taken off this case. What? With this level of escalation, even though no one's been hurt yet, there's a clear risk to life. Suddenly it's not just a cute little mystery anymore. And I'm only invited to cute mysteries, of course. So I hope I don't sound like I'm pressuring you, but we need to come up with some results quickly in order to prove to the captain that we are a valuable resource. Wait, you think I'm valuable? Of course you are. You know so many things I don't. I wouldn't have any idea what to do without you. In a case, I mean. In the case. I would never figured out that CZ thing. Leave, whatever. Right. She gives a half smile. You know, you were always the brains of us. Back in college, you never saw how hard it was for me to keep up with you. I'm the one who makes stupid mistakes. Like cheating on me. Yeah, like that. She reaches over to the radio knob and switches it on. I look away. Maybe it was rude of me to bring it up, but no, it wasn't rude. It happened, and I don't want to pretend that it didn't. The time when Jackie tore apart my world. Ooh, backstory? We were living together in total privacy. We could be together all the time. It should have been perfect. And yet we were together less and less. Jackie stopped wanting to go out much, at least not with me. She went out by herself all the time. We didn't have the same class schedule, but it was more than that. She was gone so often, it felt like she was avoiding me, and she would never say where she'd been. Not that I asked either, not very much. I didn't want her to feel pressured or controlled. I wanted to be a safe place for her to come back to whatever happened. I tried to tell her once that if she had problems, I would always support her no matter what. All she had to do was ask. But she said nothing was wrong, that I shouldn't worry, that she'd take care of me, that she would make it right. It is! Yes, this one is set in the 80s. And these two dated during college, and now they're working on a case where someone is setting fire to different places and satanistic symbols keep showing up. Yes. Sometimes it was after midnight before she'd finally stumble home, smelling of beer and cigarettes. I didn't like either of those things, but I could live with them if I had to live with her. I mean, technically, there's been a bunch of symbols not necessarily related to just one thing. But people in town and the police are calling it the devil's word because everything that looks anything like a pentagram or anything along those lines is automatically the devil's work. Still, I worried that she might be getting into harder drugs, things I wouldn't even know the names of. I was afraid that something bad might happen and I wouldn't be able to save her. Then one night she never came home. I was panicked, I was frantic. I thought maybe she'd been in an accident. I called the hospital, but there were no matching victims. I called the campus police, but they said it wasn't their job to keep track of students. I even called the real police and they told me you can't report an adult missing out quickly, and that it was normal for college girls to stay over with their boyfriends, so what was I getting all worked up over? I wasn't out of my mind enough to tell them why I knew they were wrong. All I could do was pace and worry and stuff myself with sugar. Finally the door opened and Jackie staggered in, still wearing the same clothes she had been the night before. She took one look at me and her face turned from green to grey. It was all over her. I didn't care how bad she smelled. "Where have you been? Are you okay? I was so worried." She stopped me. "I need to tell you something," she said. I thought maybe she crashed a car or been in a fight. I would have forgiven anything. But she looked at me and all she said was, "It's over." I was shocked. I begged her to explain. What had I done wrong? How could I fix it? Stupid, wasn't I? Thinking that I could fix anything. But I was desperate. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't see what was right in front of me, but even then I knew that I was teetering on the edge of the end. "You didn't do anything," she said. "I did." And that's when I couldn't lie to myself anymore. By pulling away for months, or lack of interaction, all those late nights. The only reason I'd missed it was that I didn't want to see it. "Where were you last night?" I finally asked. "With Carol," she said. I didn't even know who Carol was. I couldn't think, I couldn't talk. It was like I'd been closed up, trapped in a world without sound or color. I couldn't function, I just went numb. I stood there, frozen, with the heart torn out of me, and she walked away. We didn't fight. We never fought. She just walked away. Away from me. Away from everything. We returned to the police department and seek out Captain Williams. "Hello, ladies. Got a few new reports in for you. Witnesses to the lucky penny fire? We're not that lucky. Neither was the store, huh? I give him the smile he's looking for. And bad jokes are not a part of the required professional manners. No, the fingerprint team got a good clear lift of that rum bottle from the shed. Nice. Haven't spotted any matches running through the usual suspects. No match on a kid with a graffiti record whose folder you pulled either. So I was right and Eduardo isn't the arsonist. Thank goodness. But if you come up with any other targets, we've got something to compare to now. We also got a preliminary analysis of the black powder on the shed floor. So far, it looks like it's just iron filings. Iron? Everyone looks at me. Oh, and the god I told you about, he's also the god of iron, so that fits. He's a god of war and rum and fire and iron. And blacksmiths and soldiers. I told you he's very masculine. So everything at the scene matches. Does that mean you have a lead? Not a lead to an individual person at the moment, but I'm seeing some consistent patterns emerging. He also sent a team over to talk to the Spears girls, the ones telling the story about being kidnapped. Oh, yeah? It's pretty strange. They claim they were dragged out into the woods by cultists who whipped them to make them dance. Satanists with whips burning cats. Just the sort of thing a morbid teenager might imagine. It's not real. They got hit by something, alright. We took pictures of the injuries. He offers Jackie a folder. Still, the story's obviously a lie. Probably some kind of teenage hijinks gone wrong. Casey told me once there was his fad at school to kick balls at each other as hard as possible and see who flinched. Could be something like that. Never know with kids, huh? Never know with kids, huh? They took a beating. Where would kids get a beating if it wasn't at school and it was not some weird Satanist in a shed, huh? There's only so many places. She flips the folder open. Wait, Mary and Ann Spears? Those names are familiar. Those are the girls Alex Mitchell mentioned, aren't they? The ones whose books got burned. What's this? Book burning, disapproving parents. It didn't seem relevant, it was just ordinary pop culture books. Nothing to do with witchcraft that we knew of. Maybe it was more than that. Yeah, sounds like we need to talk to these girls. She turns some pages. Don't suppose anyone got their fingerprints? We were treating them as witnesses, not suspects. You'll need more to go on if you want to change that. He taps the page Jackie's looking at. It was the father who called in the initial report late last night, but they were at the mother's house now, ongoing divorce. Could be a motivation for troubled girls to act out. So you want this address here. Thanks, Captain. We'll get right on it. Let me get a drink of water first. I can sense this is going to be a long day. Good point. Let me also get it. Sip first. Oh, this one is not water. We climb back into Jackie's car and I reach for the map. Wait just a second. What is it? Before you rush off, I wanted to pick your brains a little about where you think this is all going. I don't want to be so busy following random crumbs that we miss an obvious direction of investigation. Humility. But I don't know. We don't have enough evidence. Of course you don't know, but you're my profiler. What makes sense to you right now? A profiler, am I? Well, she did say I was supposed to be the smart one. Ideas are more my thing than hers. Do I have an idea? I think back over the scenes I've examined. The duck skeleton campfire with its chakra symbols, the blood-placed hand on the shop window, topped with alchemy symbols, burning shadow with the invocation to Ulun, the rack of the lucky penny. I think our culprit is... What do I think? What do we think?
Hi, Sagi. Good evening.
You don't think that's valid? I think it's more likely to be an adult. Like, how do you get a duck? How do you lug around all of these things? How do you get a rum bottle? When do you even manage to put all of that stuff up if you're a teenager who still goes to school and probably is watched by their parents quite a lot?
How you doing, Sagi?
The rum bottle especially, actually. Yeah. Like, I don't think the average teenager could break into their parents' alcohol stash or whatever and get this entire bottle out of there, maybe.
You okay? I'm not so good. I'm good.
Teenagers are not smart enough to do that. Okay, so we all think it's an adult. You should know. I was a teenager once. Yes. These crimes take place late at night in different locations around the city. It's difficult for kids to get around that much. Lots of teens, of course, or friends that do. But don't their parents know where they are? Someone's usually keeping track of kids, even if they claim they were staying with friends. Obviously, it's not impossible for teens to run pretty wild, but it makes it harder, especially when there's a big story in the news. Also, look at the tools that have been used. A whole dead duck, garden fertilizer. Those aren't things teenagers buy. Wouldn't someone have found that odd? What a bottle of rum. A kid couldn't buy that at all. Fake ID, or stolen from the family's liquid cabinet. Wouldn't their parents notice? Depends on how often they drink. I shake my head. It's all too planned. Those acts aren't random, they have a purpose. It sounds like an adult to me. Someone wants something specific and they're trying to get it. Culprit is probably... Oh! Male? On the other hand, for some reason, I feel like they maybe wouldn't know all of this about the god and everything. It probably doesn't matter what you answer, you're gonna get it. You're probably gonna get to whatever the correct answer is anyway, but also... I say male. Yeah, no. Yeah, 80s and all. I'd say male. Worst case, we're just both wrong. That's also fine. Worst case, we're both wrong. Destructive crimes like this are much more commonly carried out by males, right? Yeah, arson particularly tends to be very male. Masculine energy. That's what we saw with the invocation to Ogun too. Obviously there are women who are into camping and so on, but it's more common with men. The motivation behind the fires. Oh! Destruction, purification, sex and power. Yeah, it's an extremely masculine god. Destruction? No. But the very first one with the dog was not about destruction. It was very carefully planned and there was still stuff left over at the end. If you just wanted everything to be destroyed, you would have done way more, right? The shack as well. Like sure, the shack itself burned, but you could still very much clearly see the shape of the ritual thingy. I'd say purification, actually. I don't think it's destruction, and sex and power does not play any part in anything we've seen so far. I don't think it has, at least. Fire is often seen as having a purifying element. That's why it's used in book burnings or the possessions of children with scarlet fever. Fire destroys the unclean. Fire can also be related to self-purification. Fire tempers steel, walking on coal shows your strength, and so on. Whatever comes out on the other side is assumed to be stronger and more virtuous. Yeah, well, I don't think this world is very pure. If you destroy the unclean, there may not be much left. It's most likely that we're looking for a single culprit, a group working together, multiple unrelated culprits. It's not the work of a group. No. I don't think it's several people. That would be too obvious. Something could go wrong that they get seen while they're in the process of setting up their stuff and setting the fire. And unrelated culprits, all of them using different kinds of... No. I'd say a single culprit. It's a small group, but one culprit seems more sensible if this... Yeah! There's one mind behind this. The pattern is confusing only because we don't share that person's mindset. When we put all the pieces together, the mastermind will become clear. I tug at my sleeves. All of this is only theories, though. It's the truth that matters, not what we guess might have happened. We can't reach conclusions unless we know what actually happened. Yeah. The silence stretches out for a moment. There's nothing else for me to say about the case, and outside of the case, there's nothing left to say. So, where are we going? I pick up the map. That's a long way. We pull up outside of the Spears house. Well, the mother's house at least. I suppose they're both the Spears house, really. Divorce must be very difficult for everyone, especially the children. The home itself looks tidy and well kept, at least from the front. Marigolds bloom in the flower beds with stubborn cheerfulness, smiling up at the sun. Jackie doesn't waste her time admiring the flowers. She marches up and knocks on the door. The woman who answers does not look entirely happy to see us. Good morning, ma'am. Are you reporters? No, ma'am. We're at the police department. She pulls out her credentials. I'm Jackie Morrells, and this is Diane Carter. Are you Miss Elise Spears? For the moment. She twists a ring around her finger. We'd like to speak with Anne and Mary. I'm not making my girls strip for another bunch of cops. I don't care if you're a woman. You got all you need for your cakes, now leave us alone. Ma'am, we don't need them to take their clothes off. We're not that kind of specialists. Please, this is a very important case. There may be lives at stake. We have to stop whoever's responsible for this. She's got that classic 80s hairstyle. Yeah. You don't look like a cop. I'm a substitute teacher. I don't normally think of teacher as my identity. I'm a writer, but teaching is a supplement. However, considering the issue that this family apparently have with fantasy novels, I really don't want to bring up my true calling. Mrs. Spears looks me up and down. Are you here to make them feel more comfortable? Well, I'd like to hope so. If something bad happened to those girls, I'd certainly like to make them feel comfortable enough to trust me. If they're the perpetrators, well, I still hope they'll trust me enough to sort all this out before it's too late. Alright, I'll let you in. Thank you very much, ma'am. She almost sounded like Elvis for a moment there, but I can't risk a smile. I don't want to offend this woman now. Oh boy! What kind of room is that? Mrs. Spears guides us in and knocks on a girl's bedroom door, then ushers us inside. It's a shockingly tidy room for 2 teenage girls. The whole house, or what we saw of it, looked freshly cleaned, so I'm not surprised that the floor is free of dust, but there's something off about it. The room doesn't feel simply clean, it feels empty. Even a college dorm room when the occupants have just moved in has more personality. Especially when the occupants have just moved in and haven't figured out where to put their suitcases yet. These girls are seated together on the bottom bunk bed, close enough to whisper in each other's ears. At the sight of their mother, they rise to their feet. Even genetically identical twins have differences when you know them well. Scars, moles, carriage, things they develop for themselves. But to strangers dressed alike, they might as well be dolls out of a mold. I didn't look at the file photos, so I don't know their details. I expected them to be the same age as Eduardo and Alex, but those straight-cut bangs feel more common on younger girls. Neither girl wears makeup or jewelry, and the baggy t-shirts hide any sign of body development. The injuries might make tighter clothing uncomfortable at the moment, if they've been beaten. I don't see any obvious bruises or welts or any sign of medical treatment beyond one tiny band-aid on one girl's arm, so they must be covered by the t-shirts. Girls, these ladies want to talk to you about what happened the other night. Remember that you don't have to say anything that you don't want to, and you can call me at any point if you need me. Be good now. Do you mean that for us or for them? After a defensive reaction when we first arrived, I'm surprised Mrs. Spears is leaving us alone with the girls. I would have thought she'd stay to supervise, even if that would make it more difficult for us to get answers. She's trusting us not to bully the girls into foolish confessions, and sometimes in some police forces that would be a terrible mistake. I'm sure Jackie wants to find the truth, not an easy false answer, but she can also get fixated on wrong ideas. It's my responsibility to protect these children, even from her. Mrs. Spears closes the door. It's up to us now. Good morning. Which of you is... I'm Anne. She's Mary. Are you really police? I thought they said they were done this morning. Well, you know, that was then and this is now. You two look like you could play a part in a horror novel, by the way. Like, the way their faces are drawn and with the fringes hanging down like making a shadow halfway over their eyes, they look like they could be a part of a certain horror visual novel that I don't remember the name of right now.
Menacing.
Are you the FBI? Do you get the black cars with the tinted windows? No, we're not fads. Like side NPCs and all that. The team you spoke to earlier was a general evidence squad. We're investigators on a particular case. That explanation doesn't appear to have satisfied them. The girls exchange glances and say nothing. I'm a special expert in magical folklore and cultural practices. I studied that in college. Really? You can get a degree in that? That would be cool. Anne twitches her nose and Mary stops talking. I don't believe in psychic powers, but I do believe that twins can come to understand each other well enough that they can communicate without speaking. If they keep up a united front, that could make questioning them tricky. But questioning people isn't really what I'm good at. I'm more of a listener. I sit back and look at Jackie. Why don't you tell us about what happened the night before last? They look at each other. We snuck out of the house to meet up with some friends. It was very naughty of us. And then when was this? It was after curfew, which is why it's bad. Was it after midnight? No. After curfew, but before midnight. It was around 11. Alright, so you went to meet your friends. Did you take your dad's car? That's right, they were staying with their father the night all this happened. No, we were on foot. You were going to meet them in your neighborhood? Right. And then we got kidnapped. There were a bunch of people wearing black and they took hold of us by force and put us into the back of their van. So you went to the meeting point at night and people found you there. Were they your friends? No. They were strangers. How many people were there? More than 5, not as many as 10. 8 maybe. They were all in the van and there were some in the back door still. And they drove us out to the woods, and there were more people there wearing robes, but we couldn't tell how many because it was dark. And the people in the van took their belts off and they started hitting us. They put on robes too. Then they set the shack on fire and they made us run around in circles. Dance around it in circles. Dance around it, and we had to yell, "Hail Satan," or they'd hit us again. And they had this black cat in a cage and I threw it into the fire. We could hear it screaming. And Rick cried, but they wouldn't let us stop until after midnight. Then they pushed us back into the van and drove away and dropped us off near Dad's house, so we went home. Did you recognize any of these people? Were they man or woman? We couldn't see, it was dark. And they wore hoods. And they didn't talk to us except when they were yelling at us and hitting us, and then they were behind us so we couldn't see them. If you couldn't see any of them, how do you know it wasn't your friends playing a prank on you? What friends? The ones you were meeting. Our friends would never do such awful things, only a monster would. Right, witches are bad. Even in the dark, I can be sure it wasn't anyone we knew. It was bad people. Well, I can see why the police weren't paying a lot of attention to the story when they first told it. It's not very believable. So we went home.
Well, whatever.
Did you fall down a lot while you were dancing? Fall down? Well, it was raining that night, in the dark, in the woods, in the mud.
And they were hitting us, so we fell down a lot.
Your clothes must have been filthy.
Yes, but we left our laundry at Dad's, so we don't have them now.
Did he catch you coming in?
No, we snuck in and we didn't tell him anything. Which was very inappropriate of us. We should have trusted and respected our elders. We didn't say anything until we saw the story on the news. Then we told him what happened to us and he called the police.
He must have been very angry to find out that you snuck off.
Yes.
Get some nice dinner.
Okay.
But he was more worried about what could have happened and glad that we were safe. He only wants to protect us.
That's right.
They both nodded in unison. I see. Why don't you think about that story a bit and consider how much it doesn't add up? Huh? Jackie looks at me with a raised eyebrow. Am I supposed to play good cop now? I don't know anything about interrogations. What does she expect me to do? If they were too upset to talk to us at all, I could tell them stories to help them relax and open up a little. But these two are talking to us, they're just not telling us the truth. Demanding that a child admits a lie rarely helps. It just makes them dig in their heels. When getting caught means punishment, they'll deny it as long as they can, long past the point of reason. It's better to confront them with the truth and proceed from there. But when small children lie, the truth is usually easy to spot. These girls aren't small children, and I have no idea what they're thinking. Is this a story made up for attention, or to protect themselves or someone else? If what they want is attention, they say anything they think will keep our interest. They might even pretend to be reluctant in order to make us pry the story out of them. But it won't get us any closer to the truth. If they're lying in order to protect someone, well, who and why? And how's protecting someone connected to our case? But these girls have set the fire or know the people who did. Depending on just why they're fibbing, they could either be wasting our time completely or be the most crucial clue we ever find. I'm really not a detective. I was supposed to be looking at pictures for mystic signs. But is there anything I can see in this room that might give me some clues about the twins and their motivations? Oh boy, that's a lot of things. In a room with so little decoration, one unusual item does stand out. Is that a broom? They look at me like they're afraid I'm losing my marbles. I mean, do you use it to clean your room, Rick? From the expressions, that question sounded every bit as foolish. It's an odd thing though, too large to be a whisk broom, too short for an ordinary one, and why would I keep a broom hanging on the wall? It's very nice?
We got it on vacation. Yes, it was from a handcraft shop in the Ozarks.
Oh, I've never been there. I usually go east to the for mountain trip. I can picture the kind of store she's talking about though, with honey straws and stick candy and hand-thrown pottery. Straw brooms were invented in America. There's a long tradition of how they're made. They represent diligence and a virtuous lifestyle. They're definitely not magical. Okay. Two wooden lectern desks stand along the wall, identical but separate. Each has enough room for one book, one chair, and one small candle perched along the narrow flat top. The slanted wooden surface is hinged at the top so it can be lifted to reveal storage underneath. Perhaps the twins keep more personal items there, or at least pens and pencils. Still, the whole setup looks less comfortable than my own desk at home. Do you do your homework here on these desks?
Sometimes.
Mostly we use the big table in the kitchen as long as we can be done before dinner. These are for reading. Oh, you like to read?
Yes. Reading's fundamental to education. Well, that's true, but it's also fun. Should I tell them I'm a writer? No, it's too much of a sidetrack. Besides, I don't want to talk about my books in front of Jackie. I work as a substitute teacher sometimes. Are you good students? Anne gets better grades. You would do just as well if you paid more attention. Right, I know. She daydreams too much. They seem very diligent and organized. Tidy too from the look of their room. So neither of you are troublemakers at school? Of course not. Yeah. I look around the room and finally recognize one reason why it feels wrong. Sorry, one sec. What happened to the curtains on your windows? We never needed curtains. You never had curtains, but the sunlight will come right in. That helps make sure we get out of bed in the morning. But at night, if your lights are on, the whole world can see into your room. That's more reason to turn off the lights and go to bed. Your privacy! Aren't you worried someone will see you changing clothes? We get changed in the bathroom after brushing our teeth. I suppose that would work. It's just a bit different like they are. Mom says we can pick our curtains now, so we're going to have them later. I want them to be blue, like... She didn't ask that. Sorry. You don't need to be sorry. I'm here to talk to you. You can say whatever you're thinking. Or not. Or not. The dresser top is mostly bare and tidy, like the rest of the room. There's one wooden trinket box, which appears to be filled with berets and hair baubles. I can see any dividing line down the middle, so I suppose the decorations are shared equally. The only other object on display is a porcelain disc ornament hanging from a metal half-moon stand. The disc is painted with an image of Jesus in robes protectively cradling a lamb. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I look up at the cross on the wall and turn to the girls. Are you very religious? Yes. No. They look at each other. We're not very religious. We follow Christ and we attend church, but we're not as devout as we should be. We know people who are very religious. We aren't. I see. I see where this is going. I'm very religious. I wanted to become a preacher, except that church doesn't have women preachers, and then I wanted to be a nun, except they don't have those either. And I wanted to be Joan of Arc. You just want to be seen doing good, which isn't the same as actually being good. You know we have sinned. Yeah. The walls of this bedroom are plain and white, no colourful paint, almost no decoration. Many girls that age would be covering the walls with pull-out posters from 17 or Tiger Beat. At least it seems the way in the movies. I never did anything like that until I moved out from under my parents' roof. Decorations were their decision, not mine. I remember when Jackie and I lived together, we argued about whether or not it would be wrong to have a picture of a pretty girl on the wall of our... That's not important right now. There are no teen heartthrobs smiling at these girls. The only poster on the wall is the one I recognize as a giveaway from Tiger State University, featuring the women's volleyball team in their blue uniforms. I don't think the team's ever been national champions. It must have some personal meaning for the twins. Maybe they know someone on the team, or maybe it's aspirational. Are you two planning to go to state when you graduate? Yeah, a friend of ours goes there. And it's local, so we can still see our mom. She doesn't mention seeing her father. Would you want to live at home while attending classes? It saves a lot of money, but you miss out on experiences if you're not part of campus life. The girls exchange confused expressions. We haven't decided. Well, you don't need to have everything decided yet. You could even do a little bit of both if you want it. Both? You don't have to live in the same arrangement every year. You could do a year in the dorms and then a year at home. Or one of you could live in the dorms and one at home and you could trade places. Just one of us. I suppose they've always shared a bedroom, so being apart is hard to imagine. Well, it would be up to the two of you to decide. They're not used to making decisions, are they? I have no idea what the cutoff means by the smile. I have no clue. The twins apparently sleep in bunk beds, more common for young children and teenagers, though some college students stack their beds together in order to get more floor space. You have to be careful not to bang their heads though. The beds themselves look more or less identical except for the stuffed animals. Both beds are neatly made, but one holds a teddy bear and the other a floppy-eared rabbit. I can't guess which bed belongs to which girl. It must be nice to have a sister, you're never alone. My cousin and I used to pretend we were sisters when we had sleepovers. We stay up all night whispering to each other and make up secret code words to confuse our parents.
and looks disbelieving, but Mary giggles. Does it get difficult sometimes though, not having time apart from each other?
We don't need time apart. We share everything.
It would probably be easier to get to the bottom of the story if we could talk to just one of them alone, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Upstairs the room is, it does at least contain a sizable bookcase. Not a cheap one either, but a solid piece of furniture with glass doors. However, once I look past the reflections on the glass, I notice that the shelves are mostly empty. It's a nice bookcase, but where are the books? If the rumors we heard yesterday are correct, there's a story behind that, but we don't know that for certain. You don't have very many books on your shelf. Where did they go? She stops and looks at her sister. Dad took away our books. Oh, so they're in your room at your father's house? Neither girl volunteers anything. This might be important, but I don't want to press too hard while I'm still gathering evidence. I look back at the shelves. The two ceramic piggy banks, both the same size and shape, both perfectly white and shiny, with no way to tell them apart. Whose piggy bank is whose? The girls look at each other. They're both ours. They're both of ours. Is that where you keep your allowances? We don't get allowances. We get money on our birthdays. As many dollars as we owe. And that goes in the banks. When we graduate, we're allowed to rank them open. I'm not good enough at math to work that out in my head, but I don't think that would add up to very much. I mean, assuming they're like 16 right now, they would have gotten 16 for that birthday, and then... But still, that would not add up to a lot of money, not gonna lie. Also, if it goes to the banks, why would they even break these? There's not gonna be any money in those, right? If it goes to the banks immediately, there's not gonna be actual physical money in the piggy bank. Probably enough for some nice new clothes and a celebration, but not enough for college or a car or anything important. But if that's the only way to get money in the banks, then it really doesn't matter who owns which pig. They're the same age. Half of the total belongs to each of them, no matter which pig it's in. Is that sweet or sad? I can't see anything else in the room worth talking about, but Jackie's still staring off into space, visibly ignoring us, so I suppose I have to keep going, somehow. I look back at the twins and they look at me. What's going on in their minds? They seem too well behaved for young delinquents, but there's a sense of isolation here. I can't imagine them being lonely enough to make up all sorts of stories. Especially as imaginative readers whose books have been taken away. Two little girls in bunk beds whispering ideas to each other in the night. But then one twin shifts position and I'm reminded that there's other evidence beyond the story they've been telling. Do you girls need to sit down? I know you're injured. I don't want to cause you any extra pain. We'll be fine. Are you sure? If you push yourself too hard, you slow down your healing. We'll be fine in a day or so. We always are. Always? And now at last, Jackie raises her head and takes an interest. So, just how often are you kidnapped and beaten by satanic cultists? No, that's not what happened. That's not what she said. But it's the truth, isn't it? It never happened. You weren't kidnapped by cultists. There were witches and they... So, how often have you been beaten up by witches? There weren't any witches. You snuck out at night to meet your friends, people who knew exactly where you were and how to find you. There weren't any strangers in the van. You're wrong. The girls said they snuck out at night to a meeting spot where they got picked up. It would have to be their friends or someone their friends sent. Who else would stumble across those girls at that exact time and place? But the girls got hurt somehow, and apparently it's not the first time. What are their friends doing to them? Is that who they're protecting? These friends of yours, who are they? What? Who were you meeting that night? Just some people. Boys from school? Sure. Can you tell us their names? I hope it wasn't Eduardo and Alex. Why? Well, if they were cultists kidnapping people from the streets that night, something bad might have happened to your friends too. We need to talk to them. But we can't. You snuck out to meet your friends and party. That's how you got hurt, wasn't it? We didn't meet any friends. We got whipped because we're witches. You're witches? Who whipped you? The father. At that, Jackie softens her approach. We're not here to hurt you or punish you. We only want to know what happened and be sure that you're safe. We know that things didn't happen the way you said they did. There were no dancers in the woods. There were no Satanists. There was no cat being burned. We know because we've been there. None of that happened. It was just a shack that caught fire on a rainy night. But the news said... That's where you got the idea? From the news? Why don't you tell us what really happened to you? Mary takes her twin's hand. Do you think? I don't know. Jackie speaks slowly and carefully. Girls, did either of you set those fires? No! We weren't there, like you said. Then you're not in trouble. Tell us what happened that night. Why did you sneak out? We didn't. We never snuck out. We've never been outside after curfew. But you confessed to it. To your father, to the police. Dad made us say that we did it. Yeah. That's unexpected. Why would a man pressure his own daughters into making a false confession to a crime they had nothing to do with? To hide the fact that he's the one beating them! Which is very classic way of covering up domestic violence. Yippee! Was he trying to cover up for something? You were staying at your father's house that night. Was he home all night? Why wouldn't he be? I don't want to frighten them. If they think their father's in trouble, they might lie again to protect him. I'm just asking if you stayed out late or if you heard him leave at some point or if he was there in the morning. He was there when we woke up, but he wouldn't stay out late. He's very strict about bad times. When is your bedtime? 9:30. That's a little early for the age, but not out of line for a strict family. So you went to bed early and slept the whole night through, never waking up. That means you can't be completely certain that he never left. I guess, but why would he? Why is a good question. Why did he tell you to talk to the police? Because it was our fault for letting the devil in. What? The fire. It was on the news. We saw it on TV when we were having dinner, and they said witches did it. Dad said we needed a reminder of what happened to witches, so he hit us with his belt. And he cried. And we cried. Jackie's face is blank, though I'm sure she finds this revelation upsetting. I suppose I should have guessed this as soon as they mentioned belts. There are far too many parents here who believe in spare the rod and spoil the child. Then he made us call the police and tell them that this was all the fault of Satan's witches so that we wouldn't forget. It was witches. It had to be. The news said so. Witches are real. Still, after taking a strap to his daughters, to then call the police and force him to report a story about witches. Even for a strict parent who believes in corporeal punishment, this isn't normal. Corporal punishment. Does your father get angry like that a lot? About witches or monsters or things you can't see? It's our fault. We upset him. I would also like to take a bell to that father's face. A shame. He didn't know we were witches before. Why do you say that you're witches? Because we are. Because we've been tempted away from God's light and we tempt others. How were you tempted? It was a box. He didn't like you reading? We were always allowed to read. Not just our Bibles and our school books and serendipity and childcraft. We got books at every fair. Television is bad for your mind. We had to go over to other people's houses if we wanted to watch movies. We always had books. Then Mom and Dad started to fight a lot, so we stayed in our room and talked about books all the time. And then we wanted more. Different kinds of books. Books we knew our parents wouldn't approve of. And one day Dan found out that we were reading and he got really mad. And he burned your books. How did you know that? I'm a really good guesser. And, well, I've known some of the families that had problems when the church denounced activities as ungodly. Sighs. He got Mary reading Firestarter. It wasn't even ours, but he saw the cover and got really upset. The cover's really spooky. It's got these big eyes staring at you out of the white and flames coming up over the face because the girl's got psychic powers. It's Millie's favorite book. But then he saw it, he got upset, and then he wanted to look at all of our other books, including all the fantasies Millie loaned us. And he said that they were the book of the devil, and that must be how the devil got into our house and ruined everything. And so he burned them. Even the books that had nothing to do with witchcraft, because temptation opens the door to sin. Don't you love religion's fucking drama? She likes romance novels and the heroes don't wear any shirts and the women wear those dresses that are very low cut, and Dad said that was, boring. So he burned all the books and gave us a whipping and told us we were never allowed to speak to Millie again. Does he take his bell to you a lot? Things have been better since he moved to his own house. The news story made him upset about missing Mom, that's all. girls. Tell us about Millie. She's a friend of yours, a relative, a teacher. What's her last name?
Millie Cascades. She was at our school, but she graduated, so we don't see her anymore. And she was mad that we lost her books.
Mary shifts in place, looking uncomfortable. We probably need to wrap this up soon before the mother comes to rescue the girls from us. Do you know a boy named Alex Mitchell or Eduardo Cruz?
They go to our school, but we don't really know them. We aren't allowed to be alone with boys.
Do you know of anyone who might actually be interested in witchcraft or paganism? Any rumors at school?
Millie was the witchiest person we knew. She had lots of books.
Beyond books, anyone who wanted to be a witch in real life?
Well, if Millie found a way to be a real witch, she would definitely take it.
Jackie sighs. All this and we haven't learned anything about our case at all. These girls have problems and they need help, but I don't know anything about the fires. Still, there's something I have to say before we leave.
You know that none of this is your fault, right?
You didn't do anything wrong. Reading books isn't evil. You didn't cause your parents' divorce. You didn't cause these fires. You're not the devil's door. And you don't deserve to be hurt. I wish I could say more, but these are not my children, and as a teacher I've had to learn how much I am, and I'm not allowed to interfere in other people's families. Still though, you just found out that these kids get beaten by at least one parent.
Take care of each other, okay?
They're not. We head outside. Mrs. Space is only too glad to get us out of her home. Are you done this time, or are you going to come back and put them through the ringer all over again, or arrest them? They're not in any trouble, ma'am. We have everything we need. It still hurts to read about it, though. Even, or especially because it was a different time. You might want to go easy on the girls for a little while, though. Don't tell me how to be a parent. Mrs. Spears, you should probably know that story about the girls being kidnapped by cultists. It isn't true. Well, of course it's not. There's no such thing as witches. It's just my husband's nonsense. She knew. Then why didn't she say anything? Ma'am, were you aware that your husband was using a belt on those girls? I'm divorcing him, aren't I? I see. She adjusts her jacket. Since the girl's injuries have been recorded and filed as battery, would you be interested in filing charges against your husband? No. No! No? You understand we have a legal case pending, don't you? What do you think would happen if I complain? It is the right of a father in the state to discipline his children as he sees fit. Is it? Not to the point of abuse. When Marksa left, you told it to a southern judge who thinks being switched never did him any harm. No, if I complain, I'm the nagging, lying bitch trying to steal children from a strict, loving father. I talked to my lawyer. Raising a fuss makes my chances for custody worse, not better. Accusing him will just make people sympathize with him. Besides, this is better for them. He's got it on the record now that some evil cult hit his daughters. He reported a crime. That means he had to admit that hurting them was a wicked thing to do. Maybe he'll think twice next time. Maybe next time he doesn't have any fucking hands anymore because I cut them off. I don't know. Fuck, I hate this. Makes me mad. Sorry. Welcome to America, the land of dreams. I need some chocolate to calm down. One second. No, it's not my mic. I was just busy eating. Alright, but ma'am, don't hesitate to call if there are problems. You have rights. That appears to be the end of that conversation. There's nothing left to do here. I slide back into the passenger seat and sigh, tipping my hat back. You okay? She pulls the door shut. Must have only got a little better between your childhood and now, especially in the South. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, My parents still went to school back when teachers were allowed to hit you for discipline. Which, luckily enough, was not a thing for me anymore. So hearing about it from anyone else who lived through that as well and came out of it being like, oh, you know, it never hurt me, or I got out just fine. I'm like, were you really? Your teachers were still allowed to do that? Yeah. And those are teachers. It's even worse if it's your own family. They were over Germany quite some time prior to when the same happened in America. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's one thing if technically it's not legally allowed anymore, but there's still teachers who would do it as long as no one actually, I don't know, goes to the police about it or anywhere else, and then nothing happens. Just because something's not allowed doesn't mean people won't do it, right? We had a teacher at my, didn't happen while I was there, but we had a teacher, and one time she did slap one of, like I came into that class like the year after, so the year before I got to that school, this one teacher apparently slapped one of the students. And everyone knew about it, but nothing really happened because she still taught my class the next day when I joined it. So I'm still like, huh. Yeah. It's such a mess. Why can't everyone just tell the truth? It would certainly make police work easier if everyone told the truth up front. It's hard to believe she's letting her husband get away with such a stupid lie. I mean, they're all lying. The father lies, the kids lie for him, the mother lies for them. Everybody lies. Some people have better reasons than others. Even you lie. To your parents, to your co-workers, to society. Because I don't tell people I'm a lesbian. When I was a minor and living with my parents, I was too innocent to understand how the beliefs were stifling me. If I'd known. We lie because we're afraid, but we shouldn't have to. It would be a better world if we could all try to understand each other. I suppose only God can provide perfect judgment and perfect love. Sorry, I know you're not really comfortable with the church. No, I think I'm pretty comfortable with my choices by now. About religion, anyway. She sits there, facing me, but her eyes keep jumping back and forth. She looks at me, she looks at her hands, and she makes no move to start the car. I'm fine, if that's what you're wondering. I suppose talking to those girls has brought up a few associations from my past, but I didn't have a traumatic childhood. I wasn't whipped or paddled, I was sheltered. I feel sorry for Mary and Anne and their mother, and I hope things get better for them, but I don't need comforting. I'm more upset about the prospect of failing on this case. The kind of times you got fucked on your hands in spite of being an incredible Tell you what though, I don't think, even if it's just a small, like and not outright hitting your child, I do not think you should ever have to lie your hand on a child to teach them anything. That's my stance on that. Or even if it's just a small clap or something, no. It doesn't hurt, I don't care. You don't raise your hands to your children. Like your children, I can't talk anymore. If you tell incomplete truths, you usually don't make full statements, just incomplete ones. I understand her point though. I understand what she means. Me when the Cascades are night. They do be. I really like the song that's playing right now. I could sit here for a while longer just listening to it. It's a really nice tune. keeps looking at me. Why does she keep looking at me? I pull my purse up onto my lap just to give myself an excuse to look away, set it down again unopened. Fire starter. Funny thing, isn't it, for a title like that to come up while we're investigating someone starting fires. She breathes out and finally looks away. I've read that book. It's not about witches or pagan rituals at all. The girl starts fires with her mind. It's all drugs, some psionics, and government conspiracies. I know, I've read it too. I didn't think you would have. Well, I prefer fantasy, but it wasn't a bad book. She prefers fantasy. How does that make sense? I thought she was making fun of me last night for still reading them. I wasn't in the best of moods yesterday, especially not after our argument. Maybe I misinterpreted what she was telling me. Jackie's a regular at the comic shop, isn't she? That checkout girl that knew her right away. But if she's still in touch with our dreams, why did she think I would... No, none of this matters right now. Well, it's still a strange coincidence, don't you think? Even if it's not magical, it is about starting fires. And they said it was Millie's favorite book. Shame of the text box makes it look like it's a part of the car. It does! Maybe Millie's a pyro, like you were talking about before. They said that when Millie graduated, which must have been months ago at the nearest, she went to college, she could be anywhere now. Including Tiger State. Didn't they say they had a friend there? We have the contact number for the college pagan club. We should call them and ask if they know Millie Cascades, I don't know. We could, but it's really going out on a limb. There's no evidence to connect Millie to this case. Even those girls turn out to have no connection. Maybe we should look back at that cruise boy again. He mentioned a girlfriend and a younger sister, and we haven't gotten any information on them yet. I slapped my thigh disgruntled. You checked the fingerprints. Eduardo's the one person you know for certain didn't start the fire. And then I'm forced to stop and adjust my skirt. That wasn't very ladylike of me. You have no reason to keep hassling him. He's the only person with a criminal record connected to this case. That's because we haven't found the culprit yet. It's not right to fixate on Eduardo just because he's in the system. I thought the new police was supposed to have moved beyond that. I haven't cuffed him and dragged him off. We know Eduardo didn't set the shack fire by himself. That doesn't mean he wasn't there, just that someone else handled that bottle. You think it's unlikely that Eduardo or Alex tortured Lucky Penny. A friend of theirs, especially this unknown girlfriend that he was shoplifting for, could have slipped our radar. Of course, that's not certain. Could have been something else entirely, but we still can't rule them out. We don't have anything else. So we look harder. Come on, let's go back to your station and call up the Neo-Pagan Circle. If they can't help, then we'll try something else. For campus call, it might be a good idea to avoid using the official phone. But they're rolling out the test equipment for the new call ID system there. Oh, I heard about it on TV. Being able to know who's calling me without having to pick up the phone would mean never being blindsided by my mother again. However, I'd have to buy a display unit token to my phone, and I'll bet they'd bill me monthly for the service too. Maybe someday when I'm rich and famous enough to have more people trying to call me. But wouldn't it be a good thing to be able to prove we're with the police? That depends on how nervous you want them to be. With the fires all over the news screaming about Satanists, they might refuse to answer if they think the police are calling them. Student organizations generally don't have dedicated phone lines. The number I have is likely to be the room phone of the club president. I said to ask for Moonrise. Is it a code word? So using secret codes all the time, they probably would react badly to the police calling them. Alright, let's go find a payphone. And maybe some lunch? You're hungry already? My brain needs a lot of fuel for thinking. With varying class schedules, there's no way to know when this person might be answering their phone. If we call before and after a meal, we have a better chance of catching them. That's logical. Great, let's get pizza. Are you buying? Do I have to? You said that feeding a specialist was a valid business expense, didn't you? Feeding a specialist, right. Oops, I just called myself hers. Well, so what? I've got to stop overreacting to every little thing either one of us says. As far as I can tell, she's been trying to be nice today. She was even trying to be nice last night. I'm the one who keeps getting angry. For good reasons, but it's not helpful. Great, then it's a plan. What do you want on your half? She blinks and inclines her head and follows my lead. Gorgeous of hers and she blushed. Yeah! The blush is pretty subtle, but it is there. Pizza, truly the food of the gods. Conveniently for our needs, there's a phone booth right outside. I remember when we were in college, some jokes to use that phone to order delivery right to the parking lot. Our first attempts at dialing up left us ringing into empty air. Luckily, the pizza parlor isn't too busy in sight, so don't mind our hogging a table while we digest our food and try again. At the moment, I've left Jackie wasting her quarters on some kung fu arcade game while I pop mine into the phone's pay slot. The most flexible fast food known to man.
I had pizza yesterday. It was really nice. It had mozzarella cheese on it and tomatoes. It was good.
Ring, ring, click. Hello? Hi. Now that someone's finally answered, I wish for a moment that Jackie were doing this. She makes about a secret agent. May I speak to Moonrise? This is she. What's her name? Who's calling, please? My name is Diane Carter. I was calling about your pagan circle. Are you a reporter? No one here's a servant of Satan. The mother goddess represents unconditional love. We open ourselves to be in tune with the energy of the universe. I'm not a reporter and I'm not accusing you of anything. You probably should have called them yesterday if you wanted any leads on fire worship. They're obviously a little defensive now. I was actually hoping to find someone who I thought might be in your group, Millie Cassibre? Why, are you a friend of hers? No, Wait, she recognized the name. We're on the right track. How can I win her over? I always feel more comfortable meeting people for the first time in person. When you smile at them and they smile back, there's a connection. Over the phone, I can't tell if they think I'm charming or unbelievably stupid. Maybe you're unbelievably, stupidly charming. It's different when you're talking to someone you already know and you can picture them in your mind. I have no idea who this Moonrise is or what she looks like. She could even be Millie herself. I'm a school teacher, not her teacher, but I know some students who are friends of hers. Okay, I'm fudging the truth a little, but only a little. The parents were allowed to talk to her anymore, but they wanted to know how she was doing, so I was hoping I could speak to her. Well, I can't give you a dorm address or phone without her permission. That's not making much progress. I can tell you that Tanwin's fine. Tanwin? That's her magical name, which she took when she dedicated herself to the craft. It means sacred fire. She is charming! I'm only saying the truth. The comic book store girl. I see. Well, that's good to know. Do you want me to give her a message? I have to check with my students. Thank you very much for your time. Have a blessed day. I hang up the phone and stand there for a moment just looking at it. Then I rush into the pizza parlor and drag Jackie away from her game, waving at the cashier as we leave. What? Millie is Tanwin. I quickly relate what I heard from Moonrise. Wouldn't this be relay? Or am I stupid? It was staring us in the face all along. Fire starter. They even have similar plots about an organization trying to control a girl with fire powers. And her lucky crystal was a carnelian which draws on the power of the sun and the element of fire. No wonder she knew who Alex and Eduardo were. They all went to the same school. Forget about the boys. We know who really did this now. We have a lead on a suspect and a viable theory, but we don't have evidence, not even circumstantial. Not yet. Well, can we steal a crystal pyramid to get her fingerprints? We did some of the same word as a non-native speaker. Okay. True. The police department is not allowed to steal in order to investigate. At least under current regulations. To check her fingerprints, we'd either have to have them on file, have enough reason to arrest her, or we'd have to get them from an item that didn't belong to her and we had the right to take. So if she threw something away, that would be fair game? Legally, if she throws something away in her own trash can or her workspace trash can, that's still either her property or property of the garbage company. She would have to deliberately give something to us or abandon it in public. Okay, so what can we do? Ask her to give you a certain book and then take the fingerprints from that book that you bought at the bookstore she works at? Sorry, comic store she works at? I have to admit, brainstorming like this is very exciting. I feel like a real detective. When we get fingerprints of a comic, she'll hand those to us when we buy them. A comic book isn't an ideal surface. You want something that isn't absorbent, so that the fingerprint stands out on it better. And if it's been out in the store, lots of people would have touched it already. I guess you can't polish a comic book clean. Wait, what? Can you? No, not a comic, but I may have an idea. You offer the person some water if they accept to give you the fingerprints. Yeah! Yeah, I've heard of that one before. Speaking of water. Sip. I'm so thirsty tonight. Shall we?
Wah. Wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah.
We walk back to the car and Jackie opens the door for me. I'm not sure she even noticed she was doing it. I don't protest, I just pull my feet in so we can get moving.
Wah, wah. Wah, 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 wah.
Ooh! That's a nice picture. Oh, I love the artwork. Bookstore. Paperback books. A nice shiny new book cover ought to pick up fingerprints nicely, and I can clean it in the car. She's so pleased with herself she looks like a kid in a candy store. How is buying a book going to get you the fingerprints of someone in a different store? And it's a professional secret. We leave between shelves, homing in on the fantasy and science fiction section. I've never understood why bookstores like to give the biggest displays to general or literary fiction and shun off the specialized genres, mystery, romance, sci-fi to lesser corners. Everyone knows it's genre fans that keep consistently coming back for more. Romance readers buy books by the truckload. Of course, if they know we're desperate and dedicated, they probably can afford to make us work a little harder for our treats. We're like cute little hamsters threading the labyrinth to find our carrots, while the mainstream will only gobble up whatever's first put in front of them. Ah, just what I wanted. Romance readers also have no no, careful there, careful. Just because you don't like reading that. She bends over to snag a title off the shelf, coincidentally displaying the shape of her backside as the fabric of her pants tightens across it. I quickly focus my attention on the books in front of me instead. Elves, witches, and a rune-covered sword. The simple things in life. Yeah! Alright. Some good food. I didn't have this one yet, see? Huh? I have to turn back to look and see what she's holding. It's a book. A Rosalind Perry book. She's my favorite author. Oh! Romance readers do be buying stuff by truckloads of the other romance reader streamers. I watch any indication. Yeah. I'm not a big romance reader when it comes to actual books, because I only read romance books if they're gay. Or have like gay bi, everything along those lines. I do not read straight romance anymore. Very, very rarely do I do that. But when it comes to manga, I have so much romance. So many shoujo mangas, especially. So yeah. I do buy those by the truckload, basically. She reads my books. She likes my books. Does she realize? Is this a prank or a test, some kind of interrogation technique? Have you ever read these? I've heard of her? She has no idea, does she? Should I tell her? She has no reason to believe me. She has no reason to doubt me either, but no, it's just too complicated. It would sound like I was trying to impress her. I've met enough men at those dreadful publishing events who lied to me about how famous they are over champagne and cocktail sausages. So, are you buying that on a company dime? Hey, I'm not taking advantage. This is a genuine sacrifice. I'm going to have to get this to the lab for tests, and it could be weeks before I get it back so I can read it. She genuinely likes my books. I don't often meet and interact with fans. I had an offer to be a guest speaker at Miss Southcom once, but I didn't dare. It's too close to home. What if someone recognized me? When I was just a newly budding baby author, I did fantasize that some woman in the world would read my work and fall in love with me and send me letters and we'd be swept off into a grand romance. In reality, the only people dedicated enough to send fan mail to my publisher are either teenagers or people whose grip on reality is too genius for my tastes. Called fanatics for a reason. Jackie would never write any sort of gushing letter, I'm sure. I don't know how I would have handled it if I'd received a fan letter from my former girlfriend. Laughed until I cried and then made myself sick of banana ice cream, I suppose. Banana ice cream? Are you alright? Fine. Did you want to buy something? No, not right now. I'm watching my pennies. Alright, I'll just get this and we can go. She's buying my book. She is! She's buying your book! Jackie pushes the door open for me and holds it there, her hands played just above my eye height. I can see the straps and stitching of her black leather gloves. Back when we were in college, when she'd worn gloves like that, they would have been studded with rhinestones or silver spikes. Her look is more professional now, but some elements are still the same as they ever were. Oh, hey, you guys again. Candy just won, huh? I smile nervously and look away. I don't trust my acting skills enough to interact with her. Luckily, Shy is pretty well in keeping with what she'd expect from me. Hey, Tamwin, are there any new sword and sorcery comics out now that Sonya's cancelled? Sorry, the old spotty fantasy is kind of going out of fashion. The way I see it, aliens are the next big thing. Can it interest you in adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters? No thanks. She browses the racks a bit. Hey, this will do. She holds up an issue featuring a woman in a skimpy red outfit wielding some kind of daggers. The art style is unusually sketchy for a comic book, and I can't make out any more detail than that.
Thank you for the high retirement saving.
How many times have I said saving now?
Thank you for the pack.
A woman in a skimpy outfit on a comic book? If I read more comic books, I would probably be able to tell what some of these are supposed to be in the back, because I'm assuming some of these are definitely references, but... Oh, good choice if you like gritty. She's got a huge body count. Yeah? Becky moves to the cash register, setting down the comic she's buying and the book she was carrying with her. Yeah, they're not even allowed to sell this on the newsstands. It's against the comics code. You get to come to a specialty shop. She rings out the purchases and takes Jackie's cash. Of course, you already support the shop. Yeah. Jackie takes the bag and walks back to meet me. Let's go. Okay. As we reach the door, Jackie again pulls it open and beckons me through. Hey, wait! She holds up the paperback, her bare fingertips against its smooth cover. You forgot your book. Oh, I see. Ah, okay. Interesting. I flop back into the passenger seat, giggling with relief. Jackie remains perfectly calm as she drops the book into a Ziploc evidence bag, never removing her gloves. Come on, look happy, we did it. There she cracks a tiny smile. I suppose we did. We make a pretty good team, don't we? There I go again. Look, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep making things awkward. It's just hard figuring out what to say. I'm sure that's probably true for you too. But we are working together and we're doing a good job. We should be proud of that. I wonder what our lives might have been like if we'd stayed together. Would it have been like this all the time? Holmes and Watson, Cagney and Lacey? Cagney and Lacey? We'll never know. Jackie grips the steering wheel, staring straight ahead, ignition untouched. Are you alright? Everyone lies. Right. Are you feeling guilty for tricking Tanwin? They did know each other, at least casually. If she's innocent, the prince could clear... Not Tanwin. He sucks in a deep breath, which comes back out shaking. I've lied to you. I've let you believe things that aren't true. I need to come clean. Okay. I already know about the infidelity and the drinking. What else is there to come clean about? You were my first proper girlfriend. Certainly not the first girl I kissed or even my first lover, but you were my first relationship. I didn't know how to have a relationship. Felt like all my experience had been dirty compared to you. You deserved something better and I didn't know how to give it to you. I looked at the movies and I couldn't decide if I was supposed to be the lone cowboy or the prince with the glass slipper, but I knew it was my job to protect you. I wanted to make things perfect for you, and if I was good enough at taking care of you, then I would make me good enough as a person, because I didn't think I was. What do you mean? I was trash with a bad past, done crimes, been in fights, slept around, got told by my folks that I was a mistake. I wasn't good enough for you, and I knew eventually you'd figure that out. What are you talking about? I never thought you weren't good enough. You didn't have to. I knew it. Or, at least I believed it. And I believe that's what you would think if you ever realized what I really was. I tried to make myself look perfect for you, but that meant keeping you away so you wouldn't see the truth. I couldn't tell you when I was failing at class, or when I had to drop one to take more shifts to pay for the credits. Failing? But you're smart. Only you thought that. I'm not good at essays and tests, and I don't always have the background. Remember how much you had to coach me when we were freshmen? I felt bad about making you do that all the time, so I stopped telling you when I was struggling. But I wanted to help you. She's saying it was my fault. No! Just listen to her for once. I know, but the way I was then, I thought that being a burden on you would drag you down. It wouldn't mean I wasn't being a good provider, and that would mean I had failed. I needed help, but I didn't want you to see it. So I took myself away from us. I started drinking too much. I know. No, you don't. You think you do. That's why this is so hard. I don't want you to think that I'm making this up just to get you to forgive me, and I feel terrible for... Don't you think this is all just some pathetic attempt? She leans her head into her hands, fingers pushing through her hair. Careful, don't honk the horn. That elicits a snort, which very nearly does drive her elbows into the wrong part of the wheel. Someone definitely got married. It's so funny. In-game. Careful, don't hit the horns. Someone outside my window. Okay. She sits up again, shaking her head. Okay, don't interrupt. Let me try. I was drinking. A lot. One night, I drank way too much. Enough that I don't really remember everything that happened. And when I woke up the next morning, I was in Carol's apartment on her couch. My clothes were on, my shoes were off, and I had no idea how I got there. I was really scared. It's you honking the horn. Well, congratulations. Wait, was that the night that she didn't come home? When she got up, I asked her what happened. She said that I got excited in the bar and pulled her up to dance with me, and that I kissed her, in public, in an ordinary straight bar. And that almost kicked off a whole brawl, but she convinced the frat boys I was too drunk to know what I was doing, which was true. And then I got sick and she jacked me off and took me home with her. And then I hit the couch and passed out and she slept alone. At least that's what she said. This must have been a different night. I don't remember her going missing before that, but if she told me she was planning to stay out or visit someone, or our class schedules were strange enough, I might not have noticed. Maybe this was how they first got together. Even then I couldn't remember for sure. Carol says we never had sex, but I can't be certain. I could have done anything with anyone. Not that night, it's not the same as never, but she asked me not to interrupt. I didn't choose to betray you, at least not awake and not sober. I just found out that it had happened, might have happened, would happen. Even if it hadn't happened that time, I knew then that it was going to happen eventually. It was inevitable. I was no prince, just some clueless drunk who couldn't hold it together. If I stayed with you, sooner or later I was going to cheat on you. That's why I went home and broke up with you. Wait, I don't understand. You slept with Carol. That's why you dumped me. No, I made you think I slept with Carol because I was totally bugging out and I thought I had to cut things off as soon as possible before you got hurt. Before. Are you saying you came home that day and crushed me, threw me away so that you wouldn't hurt me? You broke up with me to avoid breaking up with me? That's your explanation? I know. I realize it's incredibly stupid. I wasn't thinking straight. I was hungover and hated myself, and I felt like going on any longer with you, letting you think you loved me, was cruel. I needed you to know what I was. I convinced myself that I was doing it to protect you, and you'd be better off without me. You'd have this great happy life and all the things I couldn't give you. I told myself I was being noble, that making myself miserable meant that I was doing the right thing, that the only way I could prove I loved you was to leave and never look back. But I think now that I was being a coward. It was easier to tear my life apart on purpose than to live in fear of it collapsing. Instead of worrying you'd find out I didn't deserve you, I made sure of it. Mine feels like someone dropped all my folders and I'm struggling to put the pages back together again, but nothing's numbered and one piece looks the same as another. If you weren't in a car, I would walk away. Not running away, just to walk and keep my body moving until my brain can catch up again. It's not safe to do that here. I'm so distracted I might walk into traffic. What happened after that? What? You and Carol? Did you move in with her? Did you date? Not exactly. Would you believe it if I said you were my first girlfriend and my last? Since I decided that, it's been hookups, businesswomen looking for a fling. You meet them in a rainbow bar sometimes. Ladies looking for an adventure, nothing more. Never anyone who became part of my life. I thought it was me being mature. I realized now that it wasn't. Thanks. Like the other day when you had plans? No, that was a lie too. I wasn't seeing anyone that night. I just wanted an excuse to get away. From me. I can't disagree. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. I'm not pressuring you to forgive me. Please don't feel that you don't do anything because you think you have to. I wanted you to know the truth, and I wanted you to know that I was wrong, and I know I was wrong, and I regret everything. I made so many stupid choices, but they all started with lying to you. I wanted you to know. Wow! I can't do this. I can't even look at her. I think I'm going to be sick. Please take me home. I'm afraid for a moment that she might reach out to touch me to try and comfort me. If she did, I'd probably scream. But after a long pause, I hear the engine start up and we're moving again. Oh boy. Hi, Timmy! I know Timmy's jumping around my feet, but the sound of his barking feels very removed, like an echo down a long tunnel. I should do something. I should. Kidding? I don't know. I can't think. I pushed the door closed behind me with my foot, keys still gripped in my hand. What am I going to do? How am I supposed to feel now? Is she telling the truth if everything that's happened since that night has been nothing but one huge stupid mistake? If Jackie had been willing to talk to me with honesty all those years ago, where would we be now? Does the past even matter anymore if we've both changed? I walk to the couch, head swaying like a balloon on a stick and sink into the cushions. Timmy leaves up to repeat his hellos and I rub his fur without really feeling it. We work well together. We still have so many interests in common. None of us have ever found another permanent relationship to connect to. If she told me, if I'd ask questions instead of assuming the worst, if we'd had the strength to hold on to each other and refuse to let go, there's no way to get those years back. I want to try again. But she didn't say she did. She didn't say she didn't. She won't say anything. She doesn't want to pressure me. After all, none of this is news to her. I'm the one sent spinning. If Jackie and I were meeting for the first time, if she were a strange policewoman with gorgeous eyes and a taste of fantasy who was guiding me through this mystery, I would absolutely be falling for her. But we have a past and we can't just set it aside, can we? I fought so hard to get out of my heart and I felt every time. I've never let go. I've never moved on. I've never stopped. I'm so confused. My fist clenches and it winces the uneven blades of my house keys stick into my fingers. I go for my purse, pulling it up onto the couch and shove my hand inside to put the keys away. My fingers touch something unexpected. Smooth, hard and cold, almost tingly. I let go of the keys and pull the foreign object free. What? Wait, what? Why do you have that one? Future is now. It's so difficult to say yes, I have a vision of who I am and what I want and I'm going to reach out and control my future. But if you don't control your future, then someone or something else will. Your membership begins with a professional makeover and coaching session to help you look your best in your personal video pitch. Our team of experts will guide you through every step to bring out your unique selling points. There are more than 60 million adult men and women in the United States who are looking to make that same connection. Let us help you by bringing together modern technology with old-fashioned romance. Through video dating, you can be on the road to empowerment and romantic fulfillment. Join now! I don't think I want to. Beep, beep, beep. Oh god, what a horrible noise. My hand reaches out to smash the button on the alarm clock, struggling to find the right direction in the dark. The room is completely black, leaving me disoriented. Did it rain again? I lift my head and it feels like rusty gears grinding. I couldn't manage to drift off for ages, and then I had troubled dreams that have already slipped out of my memory, and I feel like I haven't slept at all. It's still making noise, but I turn it off. I've had dreams where the alarm wouldn't stop because I wasn't really awake to hit it, but if I'm alert enough to consider that I'm dreaming, I should be able to force myself to wake up. With a grating wrench in my neck, I turn to focus on the clock. It's not even 1 a.m. Shit, that's not my alarm, that's the phone. If I'm being called in the middle of the night, there must be an emergency at the station. So move. Adrenaline and training jolt my nerves to life and I yank the phone, hands it from its cradle, bringing it to my ear. Morals here? Hello? Diane? Why is she calling me after midnight? Why is she calling me at all? She sounds frightened. Maybe something's wrong. Are you in danger? Is there an intruder? Someone at your house? Damn it, she was vulnerable and I left her there all alone. How fast can I get there? Traffic lights are all flashing yellow at this time of night, so I won't even need the siren, and no one's watching for speed. No, it's not that. What? What's not what? I just wanted to hear your voice. I had a nightmare. My racing heart slams on the brakes. So, you okay then? Well, no, not really, but I don't need the police. At least I hope I don't. What's going on? There's some things I need to confess to you. At dark 30 in the morning? Well, we're both awake now. I groan. Diane, do you remember the amulet from the Lucky Penny? That green and black one that Eduardo was supposed to have shoplifted? Alright, that certainly isn't what I was expecting her to say. Sure, I remember it. It's here, in my house. Someone sent it to you? No. At least I can't think of any way they could have. I found it in my purse when I came home. I think I kind of stole it. You stole it?
I don't know what happened. It's like Eduardo said, I don't remember taking it. I didn't know I had it until I got home. I remember looking at it when we were investigating the scene, but that's it. I definitely didn't steal it on purpose.
Of course she didn't. Nan would never steal. She'd feel guilty taking a pen from a bank. Oh, I would take a pen from a bank. In fact, there's very many pens that I own from everywhere you could sometimes be getting any free pens or whatever. In fact, one time during art class, we were watching a silent movie, and because I think I can't sit through those, I need something to make a noise. I was so bored, I started doodling because it was art class. And then the teacher forced me, like, if you want to doodle so much, then try which one of these pens, and he gave me this really big box of several hundreds of pens are still working and which ones are not. And throw out the ones that are not working anymore. You get to keep some of them if they're still good. So guess who went home with a very big box of a few hundred pens? In the end, we were like 5 people trying out those pens instead of watching a movie.
It must have been something subconscious. You were under a lot of stress yesterday. You might have picked it up without thinking about it. I wasn't that stressed yesterday. At least not in the morning. I pressed on, not touching that. But you were distracted. Maybe in the back of your mind you were thinking about Eduardo's story, so you carried it out by instinct without noticing. I guess that kind of thing can happen. Am I going to be in trouble? Will you have to arrest me?
No, we can just say we took it for further examination as part of the ongoing case.
It's certainly not the weirdest example of someone walking off with evidence I've ever heard. As long as it gets back to its rightful owner eventually, there's no harm done. So it'll be alright.
Yeah, sure. Write up a report on how mystical the thing is that will answer any questions.
I hear it make a tiny laugh. It does have a very strange design, but I haven't been able to connect it to any clearly recognized symbolism.
Yeah, just write something.
My jaw crackles as I yawn. Now that it seems the emergency is past, I'm eager to get back to bed. Well, about that, there's something else I need to confess.
You steal something from my car too?
What? No.
Well, I couldn't think of anything worth taking. Hope you didn't take those spare girls as piggy banks.
She huffs indignantly, and I can almost see the size of her pout. I'm not a burglar. I'm Rosalind Perry.
Okay, now you're making a joke.
You said you own some of my books, right? Pick one up and flip to the back. Look at the About the Author page. It says I live here in Tennessee with my Sheltie and that I'm a substitute teacher. I don't have a book next to me in my bedroom, but that sounds about right. Rosalind Perry is a pen name. It makes me sound old and more sophisticated, and it keeps me from having problems with parents like Mr. Space who would think I'm a bad influence. Wow. It's obvious her books are written by real people, but at the same time it's hard to connect the girl I knew in college to my vision of a widely published author. Hi, Vroom! Good evening! I never imagined I'd even meet Rosalind Perry. Famous people might as well live on another planet. No one sees them. And now to realize that I've always known her. Books actually just spawn into existence. Exactly. It's just like, poof, new book. You're a big success. That's really great. I'm proud of you. I don't know if I have the right to be, but it's how I feel. I'm glad she's done so well. I should have known she wouldn't give up all her dreams, not even if she had become a housewife. Thanks. I do appreciate it. Just don't think that because I've been published I'm set for life. Writing doesn't pay nearly as much as people think. I've been lucky enough that publishers still want my books, but I can't live on it. Anyway, I didn't tell you to impress you or anything. I just thought that if we're being honest with each other, that I should tell you the truth.
She just told her about her being Rosalind Perry. Actually. So welcome back. Also, it was kind of awkward hearing you talk about how great my books were when you didn't know I wrote them. It was nice, but it was embarrassing and it didn't feel fair. So now you know. Thanks. Does this mean I could have asked you for a free autographed copy instead of having to buy it from the bookstore?
I'd much rather have you push up my sales figures. I need people to buy my books or I won't be allowed to write new ones.
Alright then, I'll do my part. I yawn again, covering my mouth to muffle the sound. Are you going to be okay now?
I don't want to go back to sleep.
I have to work in the morning.
I know, but I like listening to your voice.
No, you don't.
It's cute. I like your voice, your little accent.
I don't have an accent, you have an accent. Diane does tend to have more of a drawl than I do.
We both have accents. Yours is cuter.
Come on.
It's adorable when you grumble. Makes me want to tease you just to hear it.
She's teasing me now, isn't she? Certainly nobody in the department thinks my voice is cute. It would be bad for my career.
I've missed your voice. Remember when we were freshmen and we'd stay up all night sometimes talking to each other on the phone?
A little. I'm not sure what to think about her bringing up the past. Does it mean she's not angry, or is she trying to lead into a serious discussion? I'm not awake enough for that.
Diane, I need to... Hey, what are you wearing?
Whoa! Excuse me?
Come on, indulge me. Help me relax so I can sleep.
It's not going to make me relax.
You still sleep in one of those old t-shirts? Kind where you stretch the collar permanently out of shape and worn down the tag with threads of pure white ribbon?
Hey, they're comfortable.
Yeah, and they also totally show off your legs. You have great legs.
That is flirting. She's flirting with me. We are flirting.
How did this happen?
Oh, how did this happen? What about you?
Ooh.
I can hear her chuckle as she wriggles around.
I'm wearing a soft pink flannel nightgown with long sleeves and a long skirt and lace around the cuffs and collar, and buttons down the front. Nothing sexy at all.
Diane would be sexy in a potato sack. The thought of soft fabric over softer skin warmed to my touch. She's not serious. She just wants to have a little fun and go to sleep.
You're so old-fashioned. I appreciate the classics. Vintage simplicity.
Vintage is for vines. She giggles and starts to yawn, a long high-pitched note that curls up into a sleepy squiggle at the end.
You sound like a little cartoon mouse when you yawn.
Silly.
I suppose I should let you get to bed.
I'm in bed already. You should let me get some sleep.
Yeah, I should, but I don't want to. Alright, I'll behave.
I love you. But don't say that. It wouldn't be fair to either of us. Good night, Diane. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I wait to hear a little click that proves she's hung up before I set down the phone. Then I sit down, moving, until my brain slowly catches up enough to remember that I'm supposed to be sleeping now, and I lie down again. I can't relax. I keep hearing her in my head, seeing her, thinking, what if... But here we go. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know if she's consciously made up her mind to forgive me, but I think there's a threshold and we've crossed it. We're in motion now. I don't know what I'm doing, but I can't lose her again, not after we've come this far. If we... I turn from one side to another on my pillows, but sleep won't come. Morning morals! I'm drinking coffee as fast as I can and get it down without scalding my throat. I've had rough nights before. If I push forward and don't let my mind stall out, I'll be fine. Morning, Chief. No disasters overnight? Nothing in your line. Actually, I've got good news. Oh? I put a rush on that stuff you brought in last night and the printing got a match from the book to the bottle. Congratulations, Detective. We have a suspect. So Talman really is part of the Sarsen case. I don't know her as anything other than a nodding acquaintance. I didn't know Talon wasn't her legal name. I didn't know she was a student at Tiger State. We've never talked beyond a little chatting about comics. Still disappointing to imagine that she's behind all these crimes. She seemed like a nice girl. I ought to know better. Crime isn't limited to shady characters and dog alleys. In fact, most theft is perpetuated by business owners stiffing their employees. No one enjoys recategorizing their friends as offenders. That's why we have to be so careful about bias. It's far too easy to give some people a pass while coming down hard on others. And before you know it, there's a pattern of criminal behavior only among people the police don't like. Anyway, we don't have all the facts yet. I'm getting overall drawn up and we'll send a team to collect her. Since you're more familiar with the details of the case, you can lead to interrogation later this morning. If you're lucky enough to get a confession out of her, we could have this assignment wrapped up by the end of the day. Most likely she demand a lawyer and we get no answers today. It happens once in a while. I've got faith in Kizzy's good feelings. Even if the suspect won't talk, that won't end the case. You get enough evidence, circumstantial though it is, to take it to the DA's office. They'll make the decision about whether to pursue this through to the courts. So I'm rooting for a successful conclusion for our guest consultant. Diane stills. I spent the last few days in Diane's company. I'm not ready for that to be over yet. We've come so far, but nothing's settled. We have momentum, but if we're pulled back into separate lives, we might coast to a stop. No, that's the coward's way. That's the answer I chose before, letting the end come and doing nothing to stop it. I was wrong. From the way Diane talked to me last night, it's entirely possible that I could have left my miserable solitary state at any point in time if I'd had the courage to reach out and run right through the storm. If the department stops throwing us together, I'll just have to ask God on my own. Anyway, it's a good thing if our first case is a big success. That should prove her value as a consultant. It might even lead to a more permanent position if she wanted one. But not full-time. She needs time for her writing. Else would I get the next book? Jack. What? My thoughts have been drifting too long. Sorry, Chief. Didn't sleep so great. Just gotta keep moving. Get your tail over to roll call then. Can do. Can do. Oliver's friend also gave some key clues to the case when it's in jail and some later advising cop to catch a bigger fish. Ooh, that sounds fun. After a morning go around, I call up Diane. Hello? Morning, sleepyhead. Jackie, it's too early. Hey, some of us have had to be up and active for a while already. How do you stand it? Caffeine, training, and motivation. I hear disembark on the other end. Say good morning to Timmy too. I will. So, what's happening? Was there another fire overnight? Oh. Oh no, no more incidents that I've heard of. But we got a lab match of Talmon's fingerprints tying her to the scene, so they're bringing her in for questioning. Oh, is that good? Well, it's progress. Look, you're not allowed to be in the room during the official interrogation or ask questions directly because you're not a cop. However, you're the one with the background on calls and also it would be useful to have you watch and listen in case you pick up on something you miss. Aww. Yeah, that's still sad. Can you come in? Sure. How fast do I need to be? It'll take a while to get up and over even if I skip breakfast. Hey, your body needs a nutritious breakfast. Most important meal of the day, don't skip out. No, really, it's not urgent to get you here as soon as possible. We're not set up yet. And a little bit of harmless sweating on the pro's part can sometimes be useful. Just come when you can. She takes a breath like she's about to say something else, but then I hear Timmy bark again and the phone gets hung up with nothing more than a flustered "see you in a bit." It gives me time to check on other case files, wait for Talman to be brought in, and get more coffee. Ho-ho! By the time I finally go in to confront her, Talman has been left to sit and worry for over half an hour. Nothing illegal here. She's got water, people are checking on her, and she's allowed to visit the bathroom if she asks for it. The only thing she's suffering from is mild boredom and her own conscience. One of the walls of the interrogation room is a one-way mirror. It's arranged so that not only can passing officers see what's happening inside, they pretty much have to. Visibility is one of the new features for everyone's protection. If any officer gets rough with a suspect and the others don't intervene, the whole station is liable. There have been times when a desperate suspect tried to fight their way out, so it really is for everyone's benefit to have all eyes open. Talman looks up as I enter, stripped of her makeup, and her face looks very pale and young. Jackie, what are you doing here? I'm a cop. Oh, that's just great. She folds her arms and glares at me where I stand, her expression labeling me as a traitor to my kind. So what am I doing here? Why do you think you're here? I don't know. I don't do drugs. I've never stolen anything. What did the officers tell you that you were arrested for? If they didn't state the case, that's a mistake on their part, but I'm betting she knows. She's just trying to deflect. Something stupid about arson, which is not true. Come on, you know what life can be like for girls in fandom. We get blamed for everything. For bad luck, guys get into fights over us and it's somehow our fault. Is that what you're saying happened? Guys were fighting over you? No, I'm saying I don't know anything about it. I don't think that's true. She's putting on a show of being sulky for a reason. She's trying to deflect. Can I get her to reveal what she's hiding? Sure. So why don't you tell me about your plan for the fires? You obviously wanted us to find you. You left such a clear trail. Cry for help, maybe. What trail? What are you talking about? I mean, a fire in the woods might have been assumed to be an accident, someone burning trash or a careless smoker. You didn't want that, did you? You wanted to leave your mark. That's why you drew all those witchcraft symbols. Eyes flicker down and back at me. I don't know anything about witches. I'm a God-fearing girl. I have Christ in my heart. Yeah, do you know? It's just typical for the police to blame anything that goes wrong on women and witches, isn't it? It's Salem all over again. What do your school friends say it? As if. We know who you are, Millie. Millie Cassaray, freshman at Tiger State, member of the Pagan Club. Your coven leader, Moonrise, confirmed that Tanman was your witch name. She's not my coven leader, that's not how being pagan works. I meet her gaze and let my mouth stretch in a slow smile. Right, so in the Pagan Club. So what? That's not a crime. Accused of stealing each other's hearts. We're supposed to have separation of church and state in this country. You can't persecute me just because of my religion. It proves that you're lying and that you're not very good at it. Specifically pressing. We already know you were involved. We have direct evidence tying you personally to the scene of the crime. Satana? Oh, I do not know who you mean. Right now you're only a suspect. If you have any information that would change that, it would be a good idea to bring it up now. What, you think I'm going to rat on someone else just to get myself out of trouble? I hope you're going to tell me the truth, whatever that truth might be. You're bluffing. You don't have any evidence. You're just picking on me because I'm the only witch you know. It's the hair, right? It always sets off the pigs. I know you may not think much of the cops, but we don't get to write warrants based on having funny hair. Then what is it? What do you think we might have found? I can tell about the fingerprints if I have to break her composure, but I'd rather not give away too much of the case. It's because of those library books, isn't it? I see nothing, only raise my eyebrows to encourage her to continue. I was doing a project for cultural anthropology, that's why I checked out the books on voodoo, but they only just come back into the library, you know? Someone else had checked them out first. Look at the date stamps on the checkout card. Lots of people know about voodoo. Interesting. Especially since I never mentioned voodoo. It was on the news. No, the news blamed Satanists. Are you sure? I'm sure I heard it somewhere. It's not impossible that one reporter might have gotten the details right, especially if they slipped in to look at the scene, but it certainly wasn't the primary message. Mentioning voodoo wouldn't be enough on its own to prove anything, but when we already have her fingerprints, it helps build up the picture. We hadn't looked into your library reading yet. I'll add that to the file. She's definitely not as tough as she wants to think she is. Millie, my name is Tanman. Tanman, you're not good at excuses. Why don't you level with me and make this easier on yourself? Oh, we got her fingerprints. Because Jackie left the normal book she bought. She bought a comic book, and she still had the normal book in hand, so she put both of them down on the counter, and then she only grabbed the comic book and left. And then Tanman was like, "Oh hey, you forgot your book." Obviously, getting her prints all over it. Away. You're wasting your time. Even if I did have a campfire in the woods, and I'm not saying I did, but if I did, so what? Why is that worth arresting me? Camping isn't a crime, practicing voodoo isn't a crime, I'm not a criminal. So maybe I set a fire somewhere that I didn't have permission to, but I went out. That's what, a $50 fine? You're completely wasting taxpayer resources. You know, arson is a crime with many degrees. Aggravated arson is a Class A felony punishable by up to 60 years in prison. Aggravated. Now, if you cooperate with our investigation, I'm sure we can keep the charges at a lower level. After all, what we want most is to stop this from happening in the future so everyone stays safe. If you want me to help you, you need to help me. Tell me the truth, Tanman. Tell me what really happened. If you can't do the time, don't voodoo the crime. Were you acting on your own, or did you have accomplices? No, it was just me. Tell me about it. You won't believe me. Well, we'll see. She looks about ready to unburden herself now, so pull out a chair and have a seat, bringing us to an equal level. I wanted... She rubs her hand across her eyes. Joining the Pagan Club was great, but it wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted real power. We did these circles together, but nothing ever happened, you know? So I wanted to try on my own. Real power, true magic, that's what she wanted. I was trying to invoke the power of a fire elemental. I wanted to gain the power to create fire with my mind. Well, it seems like you didn't need magic to make fire. So how did this work? It didn't. But I knew there couldn't be any ritual that still existed and was known about that would really channel the power, or everyone would be doing it, so I had to create my own. That's what all your symbols and offerings meant? She nods. What were you going to do if it had worked? What did you want to burn? I didn't have a plan, I just wanted to have the power. It's hard to understand exactly what she hoped was going to happen, but she's only 18. I was pretty mixed up about the world at that age too. But she didn't just carry out harmless rituals, she did a lot of damage. What was she thinking? You're not 21 yet. Where'd you get the booze from? Did you steal it? I'm a girl in a university. It is so not hard to find someone who'll buy me a bottle. I told you I'm not a criminal. I was always careful not to do any harm. You burned down someone's shed. No one was using that place. It was just an abandoned wreck. It was empty and it was half falling apart anyway. It's just like burning an old piece of wood someone threw out. And what about the store? What store? The Lucky Penny. The shop you tried to have your boyfriend rob before you vandalized it and set it on fire. You're lucky no one died. Wait. What are you talking about? This is totally bogus. I didn't burn any shops and I don't even have a boyfriend. You've got the wrong person. You admitted you were the one setting fires. Yeah, sacred fires in the woods. She pushes her chair away from the table, standing up. I didn't harm anyone. That is not the way. Aggravated. She shakes her head and stares at me straight in the eye. I want a lawyer. So we do have several people. I see. Interrogation terminated, at least for now. I check in with the chief and Diane on our status. It's a confession of sorts, but only to some of the fires. Looks like she's going to make a fight of the rest. I believe her. For what it's worth, you believe her? Me too. What do you mean? I don't think she's behind what happened at the Lucky Penny. Not either time. There's 3 incidents if we count the attempted shoplifting. Okay, not any of the 3 times then. Look at the evidence we've collected. Tanman and the Lucky Penny don't match. We're making a guess that Tanman might be Eduardo's girlfriend, right? I don't think that's likely. Boys their age don't usually date college girls. The only reason you found Eddie and Alex was because Tanman told you who they were, and the Spear girls said they barely knew those boys, and even though they were good friends with Tanman. The connection was only a possibility, but it should be easy enough to prove one way or the other. The shoplifting might just have been... She pauses, looking quickly at the chief. An unrelated incident, but look at the other 2, the vandalism and the fire. Neither one matches the established patterns of the fires in the woods. And the other fires were in the woods, right? She's part of the modern pagan movement and they tend to embrace nature. And her sites combine mystical symbols that emphasize the element of fire. Chakra, the weave, she was mixing traditions, but you can see their focus on the same goal. The bloody hand on the shop window doesn't relate to anything. None of the sigils on it made sense. It doesn't have a fire message that I can see. And when the shop itself was burned, we couldn't find any mystical elements there at all. There were mystical signs drawn to the site, just not at the same time. That hand could have been meant as a condemnation which would be carried out by fire later. Still, Diane's correct that it's not the same pattern of activity as the other incidents. Also, remember that Tanman said she was being careful. Didn't all those forest fires happen on wet nights? She didn't want the fire to spread, she wanted it under her control. The Lucky Penny burned on a clear night with a sunny morning. It makes more sense if we view these as separate cases that just happen to overlap. Well, you're the expert, ma'am. Diane laughs, her eyes sparkling. We'll proceed on those lines for now. I'll see what we can do with Miss Cassidy once counsel is arranged. In the meantime, keep searching for leads on the store fire. He nods to us and moves on. You realize this means we're back to square one with the Lucky Penny and that's a more serious case? It's not as bad as you think. If you filter out the noise from the other case getting in the way, it should be easier to see the real picture. Also, without the forest fires, isn't the shop problem less dangerous? You were worried about arson escalation, right? But if it's just one thing, the public might not be at risk. Unless it's a copycat. The shack fire was all over the news. It could have inspired someone to start their own wave of trouble. The graffiti happened long before there were any stories in the news, didn't it? Of course, there's no proof that the graffiti and the fire come from the same source either. We could still be looking at multiple cases. Diane scrunches her nose, wriggling her glasses back up into place. That seems like an awfully big coincidence. And separating out the shoplifting doesn't. Well, it's a shop. Shoplifting happens. It's not as weird. I don't know. That's possibly an avenue we should look into. What is? The rate of shoplifting and other crimes in that neighborhood. If we're focusing now on the shop alone instead of the shop as an outgrowth of Taman's fires, then the local issues become far more important. There may have been other incidents of vandalism that weren't called into the police. We need to talk to the local patrol and then go down and canvass other businesses in the area. Ask about shoplifting, graffiti, threats, and press for more witness information about the fire. I guess we have a lot left to do. Does that mean I can't give you your gold star? My what? A gold star sticker for good work. We give them to students as rewards. Or for very special occasions, your choice of scratch and sniff. I shake my head. Come on, let's get moving. Bring a notebook, write down everything you can. What we can't solve through intuition, we can crack through good old-fashioned legwork. Whew. And here I thought we were getting closer to the end. But I guess we still have quite a lot left. We spent a few largely fruitless hours checking in with other businesses near their lucky penny, taking their statements and reassuring them that the police are taking their safety and concerns seriously. Old-fashioned legwork. Good, pick one. No one has any clear insights to offer. As Diane suggested, most businesses report shoplifters as an occasional problem, but it's not a cut-out concern for them either. A few offer descriptions of persistent shoplifters that employees are under orders to chase out of the store on site. We take down the details, but they don't align to any known persons of interest for the case. I saw mysterious threats or ominous sigils. No one has any suggestions. The only known graffiti in the area is standard spray paint tagging. The lucky penny itself, of course, is empty now. Both of people and of whatever goods could be safely salvaged. Most of its contents likely ended up in a dumpster. The shell is still taped off to protect the public. So Dan and I have been busy, but I don't have much to show for it. Neither of us has said anything about last night. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I intend to talk about it. There's just no need to interrupt our work to hash everything out right away. We're working together. We're more comfortable than we have been, now that I'm not racked with guilt every time I look at her and she's not flinching or apologizing every time she smiles at me. It's good. When the time comes for lunch, we decide to have a little picnic in the park instead of getting fast food again. I always carry a blanket in the trunk of my car just in case of emergencies, so it's no trouble to spread it out on the grass. We pick up a monstrous daily sub from what? From sea cells? Along with laminated fresh baked ladyfingers. The sandwich is piled high with cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, ham, turkey, and salami, except Diane doesn't like salami, so she pulls the pieces of her half and adds them to mine.
Hello, good evening!
That's the spelling! The bread alone is so tall that I almost need to unhinge my jaw to get a bite, and Diane giggles every time she sees me stretching my mouth. She crushes her half as flat as she can manage before eating to keep her bites more dainty. It feels kind of like being students again, happy and carefree. The sun sparkles in Diane's hair like a good tinsel halo. So... She looks up at me, eyes wide. You've got crumbs on your dress. Shoulders untense. Well, I'm not done eating, so I'm going to get more crumbs. I'll check them off when I'm done to feed the birds. That's not really what you were thinking, was it? You make me lose my train of thought. Do not. Oh, never mind. I take a breath. So, you became a professional writer. How did you get there? Persistence. I submitted stories to any market editors I could find, whether they wanted fantasy or not. Mostly I got rejected without a word. Once or twice I got a tiny check in a publication in a monthly literary magazine you would never have heard of. But when I was very, very lucky, I got edits and suggestions and an invitation to try again. And then there was a new fantasy imprint looking for fresh authors, and I wrote a novel. I mean, it's not really an exciting story. I didn't meet an agent outside to speak easy on a rain-soaked night. I just wanted to write. I had some good luck and some bad luck too. Some chances and wasted others, but I kept going and now I'm here. Until the publishers decide I'm too old-fashioned and show me the door. You don't really think that will happen? It's like fashion. What's out, what's in. Weren't you talking about the sword and sorcery comics going away? We're in the morning of a new age. There's a budding trend in contemporary fantasy with psychic powers instead of magic swords. Like Tamlin and her witchcraft. A lot of people have fantasies about power in the world of now instead of the world of knights and dragons. It's not really my style. Of course, now that you've introduced me to the police department, maybe I'll write crime stories. As long as I don't have to write about a psychic detective. It would be easy to solve mysteries if you could see the right answer in your head. That never stopped Jessica Fletcher. Yes, well, I hope people don't start being murdered all around you while you're writing. I definitely rather avoid that. I'm glad we haven't run into any gunfights or car chases in your police work. There honestly aren't that many most of the time. Most people don't want to be shot, and they know perfectly well that shooting someone else will increase their chances of ending up dead. Even angry men with guns can usually be talked down if you're patient. There are times when deadly force is called for. I remember the time a wild-eyed fellow with a bloody knife went after one of my fellow officers. He'd just been chased out of a restaurant after stabbing an old man having his dinner, and he would not listen to reason. He was ordered to stop and he leapt forward instead. It was necessary self-defense. That's a last resort. It's not normal. It should never be normal. If everyone's on edge all the time and fearing for their lives, then the police can't protect anyone. Most cops should have never need to use a gun. It's not what our job is supposed to be about. Yeah, Jackie. This is the good stuff. Investigating crimes, tracking down culprits, and trying to help people. This is what a job should be. Especially with a good partner at my side. I could never join the police, even if it's mostly peaceful. Just the possibility is too much for me. I'll stick to dealing with children and animals. Well, maybe you wouldn't make a good cop, but you make a good special consultant. What a wonderful future that could be. One that I could never have pictured years ago. I don't think I would have believed it possible if a fortune teller had offered it to me. But now that I see it, I want it more than anything. It's time to speak clearly. Diane. Yes? I want us to solve the rest of this case as soon as we can to put you in the chief's good books, and I think we can do it. But I don't want that to be the end of this. I mean, you and I being together like this. Yeah. So if you do wrap all this up, may I invite you to dinner sometime? She wraps her hand over one pink cheek, shifting the position of her glasses, and then suddenly grabs hold of hers. Oh my word, I still have this, don't I? With a single tug, she unzips the top of her purse and plunges her hand inside to pull out what must be a necklace she was worrying about. I meant to leave this at the station and I forgot, and now I still got it. Just gotta find a way to give this back. She's dodging my question. Maybe she's still arranging what she wants to say. She's a writer, she worries about getting the words right. There's no hurry, we can deal with whatever when you're ready. It doesn't have to be today. I don't like having it around unresolved. I still don't know how it got there. I feel better when I have it off my hands. The hand trembles and the necklace sways on its chain, the green and black pendant twisting it this way and that. The crystal isn't clear enough to see through, but it seems to brighten as it catches the sun's rays. It's like a pendulum, the way it goes back and forth, back and forth. We should think about what we know so far. Sorry, what? In the case. Why are we talking about the case? I must have tuned out for a minute. Oh! What was that? We need a new direction to pursue, right? So, like yesterday, we should go over our impressions of this case, now that we're focusing only on the lucky penny and nothing else. Is he always trying to arrange the words right? Maybe. Hope your writing's been coming along okay, Boom. So, in your opinion, was the fire caused by the same person who painted the bloody hand? We talked about this already. It's really important to go over it all right now. We have to build up the picture in the yard in order to see how it connects, so just think, are they both the same case? Right? The hand and the fire there? I think so, yes. I nod. It's most likely that both of these incidents came from the same source. Crime happens, but not that frequently. No one else in the neighborhood has had incidents similar to these. Two unusual crimes, both at the same location, are probably linked. Good, right. Thelma made her fires because she believed she was channeling supernatural powers. Was the culprit behind this graffiti a true believer? Did they believe they were doing magic? She looks at me like she expects me to know the answer to this one. It must be a teacher in her telling her to spring a pop quiz. No. Well, you said the symbols around the hand were incorrect, right? Like it was just a jumble of different images with no real pattern. So I suppose it makes sense if whoever drew them wasn't trying to do magic. They drew symbols at random. Right, exactly. Why are you asking me questions if you already know the answers? Because I need us to synchronize. I want to get on the same wavelength for our thinking so that we can brainstorm together for the questions I don't have answers to. Alright. Okay, so, what was the goal of the fire? That particular fire at the shop? You know about arson, right? What was the fire supposed to accomplish? Hide another crime, be an exciting fire, or destroy the shop?
Hide another crime. What other crime would you be hiding? The fact that you stole something from there and then you set the whole thing on fire so it wouldn't be weird for it to be missing? Like, that sounds the most likely. To me, at least. Let's go with that one. Arson is sometimes used as a method to cover up other crimes or destroy the evidence to prevent investigation. Murder is a big one for that, since it's much more difficult to get forensic data from a body that's been burned. Ugh. Well, that didn't happen here, no one's dead. If someone robbed the store, they might also set it on fire to prevent anyone from realizing something was stolen. Why would that matter? It's still obvious there was a crime. Not if they managed to make it look like an accident. If that happens, the police drop the case and no one looks for the thief. This fire looked pretty deliberate though. Very valuable items. Sometimes the fire is used to pretend the item was destroyed in order to claim on the insurance, while still keeping the item to enjoy a resale privately. I don't think anything that valuable would be in a lucky penny though. Obviously I don't know the shop's full inventory, but it wasn't the kind of place you'd buy rare antiques. We know that at least some of the jewelry remained after the fire, or Diane wouldn't have found her amulet. What if it's just our shopkeeper who has some insurance on this specific necklace, the green one, that's now in Diane's possession for some reason. And she already tried to... oh my god, when she stopped Eduardo from shoplifting it, even though he didn't mean to actually take it? Obviously I don't know the shop's full inventory, but it wasn't the kind of place you would buy rare antiques. And we know that at least some of the jewelry remained after the fire, or Diane wouldn't have found her amulet. So probably not theft either then. I suppose it's not the most likely answer. If something was being covered up, it was covered too well for us to find any trace. There's no reason at the moment to assume such a thing. Aww. Oh. Wait, so you're telling me I did actually choose everything correctly the other few times because we didn't get to choose again? I thought they would just keep going no matter what you say. Interesting. Well, the most straightforward answer is that the fire was intended to destroy the shop. That's what it did, after all. The lucky penny is gone. But why someone would want to destroy it, I don't think we have any evidence for yet. Okay, so let's just put that in our list as it is. One culprit who didn't believe in magic and wanted to destroy the shop. Very still glad it does sound more like a profile, even if it's still very little information. So what was the purpose of the graffiti? It probably wasn't just teenage hijinks, because it's nothing like the other graffiti in the area. It has something to do with the fire, but it wasn't done at the same time as the fire. So why was it there? To mark the store or to warn the store? Market? If this case involves multiple people working together, the markings on the shop could have been a method of communication. To warn the store. Come back! Possibly the sign was meant to say burn here so that the accomplice knew which shop to target, pass over and reverse. And they just talked to each other on the phone. You got pulled into a Valorant game and you did not have fun. Well, that doesn't sound nice. I know Soviet spies use data drops to exchange information without having any contact, but that's why I don't even want the people they're talking to know who they are. Or when one of them is already being watched so they can't afford any contact at all, but we don't have any known arsonists under surveillance. Also, the graffiti was only up for one night before Miss Wilcox washed her windows. Now, if there weren't any contact, how did this accomplice know when to go looking? And how come the fire wasn't that night? They sneak out there to get the message and then they sneak back another time? It doesn't make sense. It's true, the fire wasn't until several days later. It's quite a time lag if it was marked for burning. Maybe the accomplice didn't come by until the morning. They couldn't set a fire then. We know at least some people saw the shop before it was cleaned. The owner was unhappy about that. That's right, Miss Wilcox was in a hurry to get that cleaned up because she thought it would scare customers away. So the blood and all could have been to make the lucky penny look bad and damage their sales. Well, burning the store down certainly damaged sales. That hand
But through attention, it made sure nobody would think that fire was an accident. Maybe we're supposed to think they got what's coming to them. What do you mean? Everyone in the neighborhood heard about the blood mark and then about the fire. If there was a message, they got it. Maybe it's like one of those mafia things. Lost the wrong people, you get marked, and they give you just enough time to squirm before your fate finds you out. Everyone else has to see it so they know not to make the same mistake. Well, that's an interesting story, but we don't have any evidence for it. I fold out the remains of our sandwich packaging. It does seem clear that someone targeted the lucky penny deliberately, and they wanted to be sure the owner knew it. Which means she almost certainly has some idea about who's behind this and why. Could be something to do with protection money, could be revenge for some slight, which brings Eduardo and Alex back up again. But they're not ruled out by those fingerprints anymore. I'll admit it seems unlikely that a couple of kids could effectively mount this kind of campaign against Mrs. Wilcox for such a petty reason, but they have to stay on the list of suspects. Thinking of the teenagers we've spoken to, there's another possibility. This could be the work of someone who hates the occult. The shop was full of junk that was borderline mystical, like crystals and evil eye charms. Like you said, fire is used for purification. Someone who hated witches, someone like the father of the Spears girls. Might have tried to purge the heretics. It could be. Of course, personal revenge is probably the most common reason for arson. About half of cases boil down to relationships gone wrong. You mean like when girls make a bonfire out of their old boyfriend's clothes and pictures? Well, there's that, but some people take it a lot further and want to destroy someone's life, or at least prevent them from enjoying it. If there's a husband, an ex-husband, an old business partner, that sort of thing, there could be the new top suspect. Right. I've played Valorant like twice in my life, I think, but it's not for me either. It's the type of game that really is only fun if you have several friends to play it with, I think. And even then it's like, eh. I'm not one for those pew-pew shooty games. My voice trails off, enthusiasm draining away. I slide my hand over my hair, pushing it back. I've never burned your pictures, you know. I still got all kinds of things in a box at home. Oh. Did you burn anything of mine? I won't be mad if you did. You had plenty of reason to wash your hands of me. The cabaret. Ha! No. I had friends who said I should when I told them I'd been dumped, and a very nice young man in my poetry class who wanted to teach a lesson to whoever broken my heart. But you know the kind of anger, I didn't want to feel it. I didn't think causing more pain could make anyone feel better. Thank you. You're a better person than many. She smiles, but the edges of her mouth tremble. Whatever the story is, we need to talk to Mrs. Wilcox again. She has to know more than she's been telling us. Thank you for the pet. She stands and shakes the crumbs off her skirt. If you're right, if this is personal, then you won't really need me. I always need you. The words burst out, too true for me to even think before speaking, and hang there in the air between us. I search her face, desperate for a sign. Diane, please talk to me. I don't want to push you, I don't want to turn away, I don't want to get so caught up in being afraid of what you'll think that I can't say what I feel. Another hydrate time? Ugh. I was hoping I don't get another hydrate time because now I have to get up again. Hydration it is. Going to rest. Oh, you're going to sleep? Okay. Get some rest. Good night. I just didn't want to have to get up to get another bottle while on stream. That's it's all good. Thank you for the hydrate time. Ooh, wow, that is cold. And now it's on my shirt. Great. I am very good at drinking. And I don't want you to. I want you to say what you think. Whether you hate me, or you never want to see me again, or you're willing to give us another try. Even if you don't know, just say something. Do you want me to need you? I do. Do you want me to leave you alone? I'll try. Her fists clench. What I want? What if I told you that this was the end and I never wanted to see you again? No, I do want hydrate. It's always just like, oh, god damn it, I have to get up again. Some for you, some for the table. She doesn't mean that. She can't mean that. It's a hypothetical question. She could mean it. It's not like I deserve any better. Last night she was tired and scared and needed comfort. I didn't have the right to take advantage of that. I'd live with it. That was my life anyway until this week. Knowing you believed a lie was my greatest regret. At least now I know that you knew the truth. Do I? I don't feel like I know anything. I don't know what I did wrong to make you feel like you couldn't trust me. You didn't. She holds up a hand, shaking her head. I'm always going to feel some pain about the past. You can solve that with truth. Your truth and my truth aren't always the same. And it doesn't matter. It happened and it's over. Are we over? We were then. We were young and we didn't know anything. We made mistakes. We're not those people now. I'm not the same shy little miss and you're not the same heap of trouble. You're a dependable professional, someone who protects people. I'm proud of you. She takes a breath. What happened before is in the past. I need to know what we are now, what we can be to each other. What do you want, Jackie Ann? My face heats up as I try to find my tongue. I want to have a life with you. I want to champion you and defend you from the world. I want to wake up every morning with you and end every night. I want to tell you everything that happens in my life and hear you laugh and give advice. I want to listen to all your stories, all your dreams. I'll build you a house with my hands if you let me. So all you want? Companionship? Just my mind? What, do you want me to tell you how crazy I am about your body? Yes! She makes a bashful little shrug, her hands clasped together. I need to hear that I'm not too old and ugly for you now. I touch her hand to stop her fingers from twisting. Look at me. Hey, look at me. You know I don't have your way with words. You're the most beautiful thing in the world. How could you ever be ugly? Her face pinks and she half turns away, looking sheepish and pleased and uncertain all at once. What about when my hair's a mess and my legs aren't shaved and I've got mud all over my face and I smell like my dog? That's adorable. It is. I can picture her tumbling through a muddy field with a horde of puppies on her heels, dazed and dirty and laughing herself sick, and she looks even more lovely than she would in her Sunday best. I want all the sides of you. I want the good days and the bad days. I want you cute and I want you naughty. Oh my god! Well, what about you? What do you want? She looks away, chewing her lip, and my heart aches. And then a smile lights up her face brighter than the sun. I want to hear you say that you need me more than anything and that you'll never, ever leave me again. I let her laugh, relieved. Cute and glued! Cute and Till death do us apart? Not even then. She glares at me, her hands clamping onto my wrists. I want eternity. I blink. Oh, is that all? No. She lets go of me and smiles, old cherub again. I also come with a dog. Well, you'll have to introduce us. And then, even the blinking can't hold back my tears. I slam my eyes shut, scrubbing at my cheeks, trying not to sob aloud. Jackie, are you okay? I'm sorry, it's so much. I love you. And I know we should be careful and take it slow and I shouldn't put you on a pedestal again, and I'll try so hard to be good, but all I can think is, I'm so happy. You don't know how much I've needed you. How empty my life has been, how much I've carried the weight of this self-inflicted wound. But while I hide my tears, she knows I'm safe. I pull her into my arms and allow myself to cry on her shoulder. I can feel her fingers in my hair, soothing me. It's okay, it's okay. I love you too. I always wanted to believe it was a mistake or a nightmare and that someday you'd come back. I thought I was such an idiot for not being able to get over you. She sniffles herself a little then. You could lose your job for this, you know, if anyone figures it out. She's afraid of that, isn't she? She mentioned it earlier. She can't be seen as a pervert in the South without losing her ability to work as a teacher. She needs me to be reassuring, and so I pull myself together. They won't. No one questions roommates. What we do behind closed doors is nobody else's business. And maybe someday we can take a grand romantic vacation far away, where nobody knows us to complain. We can drive her to New York and see the Niagara Falls. Making plans already? Why not? We've got to do something with eternity, right? She laughs. I take her hand in mine. I'm sorry I can't offer you a wedding or children. I'd rather have you than a child. Yeah, I feel like maybe I misread it, but didn't they say at the beginning of the game this takes place in Idaho? Am I being stupid? I am very fucking sure they said Idaho. But maybe I'm misremembering and I couldn't tell you now because that was at the very beginning of the game. I have no idea, I can't find it. I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the game later, see if I maybe read it wrong. I have Timmy and my students and my readers, and that's enough for me, as long as you're mine. Always. My fingers stroke across the back of her hand, soft, so soft. There's one downside to this romantic picnic location. You got a bug bite? No, but we're in a public park and I really, really wish I could kiss you right now. I can't wait. I've waited this long. I respect. My hand twists in my grip, clamping onto my wrist again. Well, forget that. Excuse me? She may be smaller than me, but there's a lot of strength in that frame. Or maybe it's just that as a teacher she's used to being obeyed. Yeah. Because they keep saying it's in the south, but I'm pretty sure I remember reading Idaho in the beginning of the game. Whatever the case, she easily pulls me along behind a tree out of the way and... Ooh! Kisses me. It's not the greatest kiss we've ever shared. It's surprising and a little bit rough as our bodies aren't quite in alignment after years out of practice, but it is heartfelt. I want to lean her back against that tree and take the time to learn her body all over again, tracing every trait through the treasure of her gasps. But we're still in public and we're both meant to be adults, not horny teenagers. There will be time for this later on a much more comfortable bed. Hoo-hoo! Right. I step away, measuring the rate of my breathing and slowing it down. Gotta get calm. We still have a job to do. We need to follow up with Miss Wilcox. Since the store's closed, she'll likely be at home. I'll call into the station and get her personal address and phone number. Break's over, huh? For now. It's never over. Not with us. And I thank God for that. You thank God! Okay. It has a TV tropes page? Oh. Nice. The atmosphere between us is now charged with excitement. Diane giggles at unexpected moments, and my face hurts from too much grinning. I crank up the radio and we both sing along. None of my dreams, get into my car. She walks along to the music, waving her arms back and forth like windshield wipers. We must look like such a pair of silly kids. As we pull up to a red light, the music rolls over into a news broadcast. No more fires. The report that the police have a suspect in custody. Good publicity for a swift work, and move on. It sounds like the panic of a Satanist in their midst might soon be pushed away by the next exciting scandal. That is, so long as there really aren't any more fires. Right now, we can't be certain of that. A spokeswoman for Evangelist Tonal Robinson has announced that he is now taking a position in his prayer tower, where he will maintain his fast until... What's that? Some fundraising drive? $5 million by the end of the month, that God will call him home. That is so wrong. What do you mean? A man! Threatening to starve himself to death unless good people give him all their money? That is not proper Christianity. He said it was for scholarships. He said he had a vision. He always says he has a vision, and that vision is always about how important he is and how much money he deserves. I don't believe a word of it. Well, I mean, how can anyone know whether someone else really had a vision? Izzy, that's Chief William's daughter. I know. She's into all that spiritualism stuff. She said she had a feeling about us, you and me. Maybe in this timeline, I know it's a different state actually in the south. What sort of feeling? Didn't say. Of course she didn't. A feeling? That could mean anything. We were assigned to work together, we could succeed or fail, or some horrible tragedy could happen, anything. And then she could nod and say, yeah, you know, I had a feeling. That's how psychics operate. Tell you something vague and you do all the work to assemble the pieces and come up with an interpretation that looks meaningful. I think back to my conversation with the chief. Actually, I think she said that you and I were connected in a spiritual realm. That's why the chief told me. When it turned out we knew each other, it was like it proved her right. Could still mean anything. Hi, good evening! Does it bother you to think this might be destiny, you and I? I don't believe in magic, I don't believe in psychics, and I don't believe in destiny. But I suppose I don't mind if you want to think that way. I lost all my faith in miracles when I lost Diane years ago. No, not quite all my faith. I still kept little rituals. Still avoided stepping on cracks, picked up coins for good luck and hung crystal pyramids to ward off thieves, just in case. And now here we are, so I smile. I'm not going to rely on destiny to keep us together, that's up to us. But, you know, any edge is a good edge. My fingertips stroke the length of my arm. That doesn't feel like an edge to me. You're making me shiver. Eyes on the road, officer. Tease. She giggles. I am grabbing them both, pushing them together. Good for them. When we reached Miss Wilcox's address, I opened Diane's door for her, then bumped my hip against hers just to watch her try to keep a straight face. But we have to be serious now, this is work time. Okay, work time. Miss Wilcox answers the door when I knock, but does not invite us in, at least not through the front. She calls out for us to go around the side and across the back porch. I don't know if that's because her front door is jammed up or because she wants to make it clear that we are not her guests. She makes no offer of hospitality, no seats, no coffee, not that I need any more coffee at this point. Her choice of wallpaper reminds me unpleasantly of my mother's tobacco-stained home and garden magazines. She'd stopped paying for the subscription long before I moved out, so even then they were already out of date. My mother was less interested in the garden side. No plants stayed alive on our roof, and even the grass out front struggled to find the energy to survive underfoot. Miss Wilcox clearly has more of a green thumb. Good afternoon, Miss Wilcox. Ah, the pleasant race. That is much more in Diane's skill set. I hope you're doing alright. I know how difficult this must be for you. Seems that nothing mollifies the woman. You people arrested anyone yet? Or are you gonna let the city burn down around our ears first? We've made some significant progress on the case. If she hasn't heard about Tamlin's arrest, I'd rather not mention it. Explaining that we've caught a culprit, but not necessarily the same culprit who targeted her store, would only confuse and distract her. However, we do have some more questions for you. What's that? Lines of investigation. All things considered, I'm certain that she knows more about this case than she's told us. For whatever reason, she's not volunteering the information. If I can find the right questions to ask, maybe I can shake some details out of her. Actually, you know what I would like to know? How long the rest of the game is. Like, we could be like 20 minutes from the end. Because I'm only missing the very last achievement, or it could be another hour. Because if it's only like half an hour, I would be willing to just go overtime. Oh my god. Ma'am, there's an eye up on your head. Miss Wilcox, have you been receiving any threatening phone calls lately? You mean like those heavy breathing perverts? What? The ones that call up and won't say who they are and just breathe at you? Oh, I get those. It's usually children from school. How do you know? I'm sure Diane said she doesn't have call ID. Their mothers make them apologize. My mind fills in the image of a small child being dragged along by his arm by an irate housewife and deposited at Diane's feet. But how do the mothers know what their sons have been up to? Never mind, we're getting off the subject. It could go for several more hours. It could, but I don't. It's not terribly long of a game, according to everyone else on Steam. So you've been receiving these pervert calls, ma'am? Nah, see them on TV. Nobody calls me here. What about at your store, when you were there? Sure, got some prank calls from kids. Have you got Prince Albert in a can? That kind of thing. Not often. Is that a kind of tuna? No, it's tobacco. This isn't getting us anywhere. I need a different direction. You still have no idea what a game is set. It's the alternate Idaho. Okay, let's go with the alternate Idaho that is set in the south. Until we find out that I'm probably just misremembering what I read. Are you a religious woman, Miss Wilcox? I go to church on Sunday, same as everyone. No, not everyone, but that's beside the point. Which church? She hesitates. St. Luke's. Now, does she think I'll have a problem with her denomination? She abandoned Scythes in attendance, or did she just pick a saint's name at random and assume there would be such a church? We're not the Inquisition. I'm only interested to the extent that it impacts this case. Has anyone at your church ever objected to your line of work? No. Have you ever had any difficulties with religious groups around your store? Picketers, pamphlets, praying outside, tracts? You mean the little cartoon books they give away? Some guy asked if he could leave a stack at the shop once. I told him no. It's a store. We don't give things away for free. And was he angry about that? Nah, just went to the next place down. So you've never had a problem with anyone who thought that your store was ungodly? Not particularly, no. Well, this direction isn't getting me anything. What other possibilities are there? That's a good question. What other possibilities are there? Miss Wilcox, do you know of anyone with a grievance against you? Ex-husband, a strange relative, or business partner? Someone who might want to see you fail? Not that are any of your business. I'm afraid it is our business, ma'am. Someone targeted your store in particular. That most likely means you've got a reason. You're the best placed to know what the reason is. Someone hates you that much, they're usually not shy about it. I don't make a lot of friends, lady. It ain't my job. I can imagine why. You want a list of people who don't like me? That's probably everyone, you find self-included. But I'm not feuding with anyone either. Told you before, and the only grudge I could think of against me and my store was those thieving kids. They didn't do anything. I hold up my hand to hush her protests. I don't disagree with her angle here. While it's not impossible that the teenagers were involved, it's not likely, and we're here trying to find other suspects. But her emotional appeal won't get anywhere with a tough nut like Jolene Wilcox. Ma'am, we had eyes on those teenagers the night of the fire. Technically it was the afternoon, but close enough. You found them? Yes, ma'am. They do not appear to have been involved. Well, it must have been those crazy Satanists then. I heard about those folks in the news, spreading good people out of their homes. Can't sleep safe in our beds. That's what we're worried about, ma'am. You might be in danger. Right now we don't know whether the threat was targeting your store or targeting you personally. Well, isn't that your job to figure out? Yes, ma'am, but we need your assistance in order to protect you. Please think. Have you had any other suspicious contacts, threats, demands, requests for payment? No, I don't know. It's a store. People come in. I don't take names. Could be anyone. Can't know what makes crazy people crazy. This is frustrating. I'm trying everything I can to encourage her to be forthcoming. She won't give me anything. Is it fear? She's definitely being evasive. Is there some greater threat, something worse than losing her store, which is blocking her from cooperating with us? If it's something so crucial for her to protect, she'd never admit to directly. Ah, lady! We're here to help! Oh. Do you have any family, Miss Wilcox? Why do you ask? Because there might be something important enough to protect that she refused to cooperate with the police over it, but I can't say that. Jolene has more lines across her face than a freshly plowed fall. Damn, don't be rude! You might need a source of support. Your livelihood's pretty much wiped out. How will you get by with no income? I'm not stupid, I have insurance. How much will that cover? I've got liability for idiot customers, business interruption, fire, flood, contents, forced entry, pretty much everything except the glass out front. Gonna have to fight with the property owner about that one. Oh, you don't own a building? No, I rent the space. So, will you rebuild and reopen the shop? If she's under some ongoing threat that she can't fight and she knows it, then she shouldn't want to put herself back in the crosshairs. But if that's always her sole source of income and she's on a lease, she needs to get back up and running. Where do you think I'm going to get another 20 years of collections and trade-ins to sell? Suppose it's not quite as simple as buying new stock for a regular store. What will you do then? Sell something different? Dunno. Depends how long it takes to settle the case. The insurance claim, right. Might move somewhere else, get a fresh start. Sick of this place anyway. If she's eager to leave, does that prove that she knows she's in danger if she stays? Why won't she tell us anything? Why leave? You were your own boss in that store. Lots of people might envy that. So I don't think envy would be enough reason for someone to burn our place down. Yeah, a boss of old junk. Dan, who's been quietly looking around the room for a while, suddenly speaks up. You like plants, don't you? Eh? I blink but don't say anything. What is she up to? Your backyard looks so well tended. I always have trouble with my yard. I have to hire neighborhood boys to do the grass. I don't even own a mower. I'm never going to win the Lawn of the Month award. You obviously put a lot of love into your home. Have you lived here long? A good while. You have such lovely houseplants, and some parts you haven't filled yet too. You used to sell parts like that at the Lucky Penny, didn't you? Yeah, get them in batches so I didn't keep them all on the shelves. Could always bring more in to pad out the room when stock was low.
What about the painted ones? Did you make those yourself?
Yeah, they're nothing fancy.
You must put a lot of work into your hobbies. You have so many tools, shovels, cans, trowels, fertilizer.
Oh, now I understand everything.
What about it? Is that fertilizer blood meal?
My eyes twitch. What's that got to do with anything? Ma'am, we're going to need to take that in for analysis. So, isn't it just her trying for that insurance claim? She did it herself, like I said earlier? She sneers at me, stepping to block my passage. You got a warrant for that? I don't need one. You invited us in, it's in plain view. I don't have the right to dig through a private space looking for clues, but thanks to Diane spotting it, the fertilizer's fair game. Now what has you so concerned? It's just a bag of fertilizer, isn't it? What are you afraid I'm going to see? Is it because you know that this fertilizer was used in the commission of a crime? She pinches her lips together, puffing up her cheeks like an overzealous chipmunk. You drew those symbols on your window. You set fire to your own shop for the insurance money, didn't you? She folds her arms, drumming her fingers against her sleeve, and her eyes flick back and forth along the floor. After a moment, she looks back at me. Let's say if I did. If that's what happened, why should you care? It's a victimless crime. No one got hurt, no harm to anyone. No harm? Eduardo and Alex could have gone to prison. You weren't supposed to find those kids if that's what happened. But you were watching them, right? You know they didn't start the fire, so there's no problem. I tried to put the pieces together. The boys were scapegoats, a distraction, and one she didn't think we could track down so quickly. So she wasn't conspiring with Tamlin. Oh, where did my cursor go? Which raises another question. How did you know about the fires being set in the woods? You know what? I didn't know anything about the Satanists until I heard it on the news the other night. I don't have a thing to do with that, and there ain't no way you can pin it on me. She smiles, baring sharp yellow teeth with the occasional glint of gold. Gold! Why can't I talk anymore today? Jesus Christ. Just my bad luck some godless heathen set fire to my shop too, huh? A fortunate coincidence for her schemes. More likely she had some other plan at first and changed directions when she heard there was an arsonist on the loose. She knew the department probably wouldn't provide the guards she'd requested, and certainly not indefinitely. I myself told her that extra security for her shop wasn't needed. She could have driven to her shop at night, not suspicious as the owner, and checked to be sure there were no police around before proceeding. The opening centers of mailing and distributing Las Vegas says that we don't have one today. Once we're through with it, I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the game, okay? I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the game and check up on it, because I remember it was set pretty early on. I'm not sure how to prove that though. The only concrete evidence we have against her right now is that blood meal, and her confession if she makes it. So what happens if you can't find any culprit in this case goes unsolved? I get my money, I leave this shithole town, I get a new job somewhere else, and you never hear from me again. Nobody has any problems, you see? You don't lose, I don't lose. Now, if you decided to try and push this about theory of yours about who might have been responsible for that fire if you tried to set me up, then I would have to tell you boss about the wicked things you've been doing with Miss Kindergarten teacher over there. Diane's face reflects the color of her pearls. That's right. See what you are? A couple of dirty lesbos trying to frame a decent God-fearing woman just to make me keep quiet about what I know. Okay. It's out. Out. You're disrespecting my two girls during Pride Month. I'll kill you. Never have to, that's what I'll say. It's what Diana's always been afraid of. A good name dragged through the mud. All her bravado from the park is gone now. You stop asking questions and I'll forget what I saw. You make me an enemy and I will ruin you. So you think real careful now. I don't look at Diane. I don't want to see her face. I keep my gaze fixed on Shalene Wilcox. And I laugh. You think I've never been called a dyke before? Lady, are you blind? I'm a woman on the force who can now bench press half the scum I drag in. She fears I'm an unnatural whore 3 times a week. You think he believes any bullshit that comes out of the mouth of a perp? You can say whatever you want. Bring me your phone, I'll call the station, you can tell them right now. The wind sucks out of her sails as she realizes I'm serious. What do you want? What I want is for you to come on down to the station with me and explain what's been going on with your store. If you make this easy for us, we'll forget about the whole trying to blackmail police officer thing. I want a lawyer. I reach around my belt for a pair of handcuffs. You have to write to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Get fucked, lady! Get fucked! Ugh. Between bringing in our suspect, explaining the situation to the chief, and enduring his congratulations, it's not until much later that I get a chance to speak with Diane privately. Her assignment is more or less concluded now, though she'll need to return on another day to fill out some payment-related paperwork and a handful of surveys documenting her experience with community-centered law enforcement. But for the most part, she's dismissed. Diane drove herself to the station this morning, so I can't even take her home. But I don't intend for this to be the end to our day. The only chance I have to speak to her alone is in the parking lot while she's getting into her car, so that's where I go, and from there we agree to meet for dinner at her place in a couple of hours. Diane opens the door at my knock. Come in, welcome to my home. She closes the door before stretching up to give me a quick kiss. Ooh! Hello there, this must be the baby of the family. I squat down in front of the dog and wait to let him approach me if he wants. He bounces up and down and then looks up to his owner for reassurance. He's confused. I don't exactly get a lot of visitors. But you're a precious baby, aren't you? Show Jackie what a good boy you are. Shake hands. She kneels beside the dog, passes over him a bit and feeds him a treat. He is pretty cute. Almost as cute as you are. Silly. We look at each other, both crouching on the floor like children, and laugh. I stand up and brush off my niece and offer Diane a hand up. She doesn't need it, of course. This is her home. She stands on her own feet all the time, but it's an instant. The house itself isn't large, but it's better decorated than mine. It feels cozy. At the moment, there's a wonderfully wholesome scent drifting out from the kitchen, but I don't see any food on display. I hope I didn't make you do a lot of cooking. No, I swung by the grocery store and got a nice big chicken pot pie to throw in the oven. Oh, good. I'm sorry I didn't take you out to a nice restaurant tonight to celebrate our victories. It just would have been too frustrating. Not being able to hold my hand? Fingertips goes around mine like a shy breeze. Yeah, but also not being able to talk about work business. Work? I thought that was done. Your official role is done, but I thought you might want some time for debrief. I mean to talk about what happened and ask any questions you might have. And we can't do that in public. Oh, right. She brushes her hair back behind her ears. Well, what's going to happen to them now? Will Tama lose her job and have to drop out of college? Will Miss Wilcox go to prison for the rest of her life? Well, assuming they both stay cooperative, we can keep the charges pretty low. No one's could go down to reckless burning. That's nothing more than a fine and a warning. Most likely she'll end up with misdemeanor vandalism because of the shack. Slightly bigger fine and some community service. She'll have a record for a while, but it won't affect her schooling. Jolene is looking at jail time. Arson for insurance fraud is not aggravated, but it's still a Class C felony. That's a minimum of 3 years, at least in the initial sentence. Damn, I don't even know what aggravated arson means. But she pleads early and is willing to pay all fines and expenses. That sentence might be deferred or suspended. Then it would only be probation and a loss of her finances. Which could mean bankruptcy, depending on her resources, but it certainly beats 60 years in prison. It's a gamble she chose to take by trying to defraud someone else. I can't feel too sorry for her. You should be very proud. You solved this mystery in record time with no casualties other than one old shop. Everyone still has a chance to recover. You did great. Thanks. She smiles, but it's only a quick motion and pulls her cheeks tight before they fall again. You hang into this. Oh, okay. She smiles. Was it true that he said to Miss Wilcox that people say all those rude things about you? I sigh. Not as much as I made her think. That was mostly to shut her up by showing I wasn't afraid, but yeah, it has happened. He said no one knew about you. And they don't. Perhaps spewing insults is just a normal reaction to getting caught. Just say anything. No one takes it seriously. Doesn't it scare you? Maybe nobody believes you're a lesbian, but if they keep hearing it over and over again, they'll look at you differently. One day they might suspect, they might see. You're a cop. Homosexuality is against the law. What happens to you then? I fold my arms, shrugging. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about that. I don't want fear to keep me from doing my job. The police don't go around looking for gays to round up. They would be bad for community interaction. It might have been done differently in the past when people wanted to rank up extra collars for points, but that's not the policy now. Crimes against nature are only thrown in as a bonus charge when someone's already under arrest. She makes a face. I know it's still not fair, but at least it gives us some protection if we're careful. Maybe it's wrong to be so careful. Maybe we should make more noise and protest the way the world treats us. The laws will never change unless people demand it. But right now I have a more important mountain to climb, rebuilding my relationship with Diane. The rest of the world can wait. Selfish? I don't care. I know what I want, what I need. If I have her on my side, then I can handle the world. When she threatened to tell, I was so frightened. If it had been just me, I might have done what she asked. But I couldn't ask you to let a criminal go. That's not who you are. You did the right thing. But I was afraid that your career would be over and it would be my fault. I take her hands in mine. If I got fired, I'd find something else. I would go on. I don't want to lose my job over us, but if I had to, you're worth it, okay? Then leaps forward and throws her arms around me, banging her head painfully against my chin. Hey, careful. The hug goes on and on, I can't fucking read anymore. The hug goes on and on, her body swaying gently in my arms. I run my hand over her head, soothing her. I miss her long hair. Her head feels so fragile like this. I love you. I always have. She sniffles into my shirt. We're really killing the mood here, aren't we? Oh, right. I kiss her hair, stroking her back. Do you want to commit a crime against nature? She laughs and thumbs me on the arm. That's not very romantic. Hey, sorry, I can't contain myself. I've been wanting you too long to wait for it now. No, now I'm afraid I'll disappoint you. I promise you won't. Well... She steps back, taking hold of my hand and draws me along with her. Ayo? Into a bedroom, ayo? I'm sorry, it's probably a little too floral for your tastes. The only thing that matters about this bedroom is that you're in it. Oh boy! She presses her hands to her face shyly, then turns around. Oh! Will you unzip me? Move into place behind. Am I allowed to show that? Yeah, that's still covered. We're good. My fingers fumble under the curves of a collar, seeking a tiny metal tab. They make them small on dresses like these so they can be tucked out of sight. An illusion to pretend that we aren't all living flesh underneath. Flesh revealed inch by blushing inch as I slide the zipper down her bag. Oh! Soft skin, I haven't seen it in so long. I lean forward, my body covering the places where she's exposed, and feel the warmth of her through my shirt. My lips brush over the back of her neck, the short hairs at her nape tickling my nose, and she shivers. I keep my voice low, my breath hot against her skin. I love you so much. Tell me what you want. Oh God! Oh, I'm not good. I'm not good with scenes like these. I've ached for her in my dreams for years, but I don't want to set a single finger where she doesn't want it. I can't read all this, oh God. My body quivers, but not from cold. I want to make everything perfect for her and to worship her as she deserves, but... You want me to do this in Uwu voice? Fuck off, room! No! I want to make everything perfect for her, to worship her as she deserves, but it was that fear of imperfection that came between us before. I have to show her how badly I need her, how my feelings are desperate and real and true to the core of me, something she can depend on always. I gather up the hem of her skirt in my hands, one on each side of her body. Raise your arms. Oh my God! Am I even allowed to show that? Is that... She lifts them over her head, her fingertips touching her back arc. My ballerina figurine, but I don't pause to admire the sight. I draw the fabric up and over her head, pulling her sleeves loose from my arms, and my breath comes faster. You're so beautiful. Keep that text box down there, please, Gabe. I'm not sure I'm allowed to show all this. With the barrier removed, my hands slide over her shape like a sculptor. The curved here, dimpled there. The soft swell of her belly, the delicate bones of her shoulder blades. Yeah, I have a feeling whatever the third one is going to be, I'm gonna be in trouble. Hold on. I think I still have a sensor thingy somewhere. What is this one? Oh yeah! Yeah, that's a good one. Just in case. I don't know what's gonna happen here, but you know, just in case. Censorship, let's go! I cup her breast still nestle in her lacy bed and hear a gasp. My pulse beats hot within me, an insistent throb between my legs. I want to touch you all over. Oh God. No, I'm censoring absolutely everything now. Do it. Do it, she says. No.
We're not doing anything. Hold on. Me. The Sensei Umiyo is just gonna do this. Boom. I'll read it.
Because I'm reading it anyway. La la la, we're just gonna pretend. Oh! Ayo! No fumbling now. The hook and eye fastening off her bra is right in front of me, and with a few quick tugs I have it undone. I pull the straps off her shoulders and throw the whole thing aside. This time when my hands slip under and around to lift her breasts at his bare skin under my fingertips and rosy nipples that twist up into eager but— Oh my god, I can't read this! Oh my god! I can't show this! When I read about there being a scene, it was described as not being too out there, so I thought, okay, sure, I can keep it in because you have an option to turn this off. I should. Oh my god.
La la la.
I can't read that. No. On a scale from 1 to 10, how explicit is it? They're both naked, except that she still has the stockings on. And her breasts are not shown because Jackie has her hands around them, but that is very explicit to be seen. Yeah, no, I cannot show that. Oh my god. Okay. What a sexy fish. I'm so glad we get to see this fish, but no, because it literally— where is it? Here, suggestive content. Suggestive content? What do you mean? That we're naked. I can't show that on stream. What are you talking about? Suggestive, yeah, okay. Hi, Sammy. Like, okay, sure, yeah. Obviously, nipples and everything were covered, so but I can't show that on stream. What the hell? You know what? I'm gonna keep that censorship, Umiyo. It's a very good thing to have. I'm not gonna take that out of the overlay anytime soon. By the time we finally managed to drag ourselves out of the bedroom, the chicken pot pie is slightly overcooked but still edible. From the way Diana eyes me over her dinner, I think she's pondering whether this break for sustenance will grant us enough energy to go around again. Can you spend the night? I dab at my lips with one of her napkins. I don't even own cloth napkins at my house. I can't, I have to work tomorrow. I don't mind you waking up early. It's not that. It's department policy that the chief needs to know where I'm at night in case there's an emergency and I need to call in extra bodies. It's all plot by New to get us to buy the game so we can see sexy PNGs. Why did I even— what game was it that I took, that I like searched? I know it was because the face of some character reminded me so much of that fish that I looked it up, but what game was that? If I stayed here overnight, I would have to notify him. Oh. She looks disappointed, so I press for a solution. You could come over to my place. I have them clean and it's not as nice as yours, but I'd be happy to have you. Oh, I'm not sure I should leave Timmy home alone overnight. Funny curse game? Oh yeah, Paranormicide! Yeah, true, right, our mass murderer, before he lost a bunch of weight. Yeah. We look at each other across the table. Well, we don't need to have everything worked out right away. Were you serious when you said we could be roommates again? I said that? Yeah. No, it's fine, I just didn't remember. I want to be with you as much and as often as I can, forever. Really? I promise. I think the smart thing to do would be to give us both a little time to get used to all the changes in our lives before we uproot ourselves any further. But if you want to start house hunting this weekend for a place we can both move into, I will definitely join you. Just like that? Just like that. I don't ever want to lose you again. Oh, Jackie, I love you. She leans her chin on her hand and gazes at me with such glittering eyes that I start to feel a bit embarrassed. So, thanks for dinner. Are you ready for dessert? What's dessert? She grins. We race each other back to the bedroom, nearly tripping and falling over Diane's drop pose in our acceleration. It doesn't matter. Little mistakes aren't important. We can always fix them. All we have to do is be willing to try. The future looks beautiful. Woohoo! Yeah, but what's with the... Yeah, what's with... Exactly, what's... Hello? Hello? It's still there and it's glowing and it's not explained. Okay, we don't care about that. We care more about having sexy times, which is understandable. Nice. Story especially dedicated to all of the girls and women who are not afraid to be independent leaders of their own lives. Maybe left out for the potential sequel. Yeah, there's lots of people asking for a sequel, actually. Funnily enough, though, because of this game and many people asking for a sequel, we now know that Hanako Games is working on a sequel to why can I never remember the game's name? Long Live the Queen. Which I think is very nice. Also, oh my god. I am... Yep. Oh my god, I'm actively sweating because of that scene just now. Oh god, the end. Dun dun dun. Question mark? It is. But apparently they're working on it now. Aha! Cool. Nice. What a good game. That was fun. It is in a gallery. The sexy scene is in a gallery. Yeah, if you press on it, it just goes through all of versions of it. Nice. What a lovely game. Convenient fish. Yeah, I'm keeping that. Very good fish. That's another one done. That's another one done. Woo! Yeah. Proud of myself. Those were some good lesbians. I like them. Some very good lesbians. That means I need to find a new game to play next week. Road Warden. I have it. I have the tab open somewhere. Yeah. Like yesterday, we hate each other. I mean, I like the lesbians yesterday as well. Cannibalism can be so romantic, actually. Oh god. Hitting them out of the park, yeah. Yeah, but that means I have to find 2 new games to play for next week. Wah, wah, wah. It's too bad you weren't there for the lesbians yesterday, actually. Or were you? It was a good game. It was a very lovely game. I enjoyed it very much. No, I have 2 other... I've been thinking very hard earlier, but I think I have 2 other games I want to do that next week. Maybe show them out. It was not shown. There was no gore in the game at all. None whatsoever. Death by Choo-Choo. Yeah! Death by Choo-Choo. It's good. And yeah, it's so lonely here. Night Cascades time. Oh no, with that we just got done with Night Cascades time, actually. We just finished the game. I'm sorry. Night Cascades time over. Yeah.
You have two games I will be starting next week.
One of them is Milky Way Prince. Because it is Pride Month, so I'm just trying to make it through not every single one. I can't make it through every single LGBT game that I have, but I'm trying to make it through as many as possible that are kind of short enough that I can fit many of them. As many of them into this month as possible with my current schedule, so you can imagine that was too risky for me how to describe it. Oh no, it's literally just like it's leading up to the scene in and of itself, and then she like starts biting her neck. It's like, oh, you can't breathe anymore because you're bleeding. That's the extent of the scene. It's really not any gruesome detail or whatever. I guess it's gruesome enough for you though. It was a good game though.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah, 2 new games next week. And I will try my hand at 2AV one more time. For real, hopefully, maybe. Because I feel a little more motivated now than I did yesterday. Fighting someone's neck is how we get vampires. No one does. It's perfectly fine. Listen. I never want to force anyone to come for a game where, the general description of content that may or may not appear in it has you screaming. Screaming? Whatever. Never. You do not need to be there. No worries. You're all good, even. Yeah. Milky Way Prince next week, and tell me why. Hi, TK. Just about to finish, actually. Milky Way Prince because I've had it for a while and it looks fun and also LGBT, and tell me why because I claimed that one last year already when it was free, because I think they make it free every single Pride month, so like, you know what, time to actually play it. Because why not? I'll post the schedule in a bit though, but it's just gonna be same days as this week. We're sticking with the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I would love to go back to Wednesdays, but my Wednesdays are being taken over by real life, which is not enjoyable. But that's what we're gonna do. You posted a link to the Steam page. Yeah, tell me why. Right, hold on. Just tell me why it's free to claim forever. Oh, wait, no, right, hold on. We forgot to check something. We forgot to check something. Hold on, 1 second. On an ordinary evening in Nampa, Idaho, a woman is alone in the kitchen heating up soup on the stovetop. Ba 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 ba. That's why. That's why I keep thinking Idaho, because the very first thing has you going, oh hey, Idaho. Aha! There is only 3 chapters. To tell me why. As far as I'm aware, no? Tell me why. Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
But that is gonna be it for tonight.
That's because of other games I've been branded. Yeah. I mean, Life is Strange had 5 chapters. But tell me why only has those 3. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Well, that's gonna be it. That's another game out of the park, which is our 100 and I don't know, 717? 6? I can't count. You know, pesky fish got in the way. Listen, it's a good fish. Look at it.
It's a great fish.
Have a good night, everyone. There's so many people. What is this? There's so many people alive right now. So many people we haven't been to in quite a while. Oh. So many people. Actually, it's a fish from security. Yeah. Actually, I am assuming that's hopefully the new one. Karin is playing Etrian Odyssey HD. Is that the new ones? I thought those were only coming out sometime later this month. It's a remake. Are those the new ones? Are they out already? But yeah, we're gonna go there because I like watching other people play Etrian Odyssey because I suck at those games. They came out 3 days ago. Oh, for some reason I thought they would come out later this month. But maybe that's just me being bad with dates. Okay. Huh? Have a good night, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. I'll post the schedule in a bit. Thank you for streaming that. Thank you. Have a good night. And bye-bye. Bye-bye. I can't mute.